Usually about a 6-minute drive. It's going to take you at least 13 minutes right now to get from that point A to point B. Otherwise, it looks okay. 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo, about a 6-minute drive. The zoo to Highway 16 running about 10. And 41 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo interchange, about a 14-minute drive this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly sunny today, highs 65 to 72 and clear tonight, lows 50 to 47. Mostly sunny tomorrow morning, then a cold front moves in. Those afternoon temperatures are going to be in the 50s after a high of 74. Mostly sunny on Wednesday, highs 56 lakeside, 62 inland. Thursday, high 67. Chance for showers, maybe a thunderstorm on Friday with a high of 65. Right now in Madison, 64, Green Bay 68, Milwaukee 57 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. So very glad to have you with us on a Monday afternoon. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, including all the moms out there. I had a wonderful afternoon. My wife, who's raised a couple just delightful daughters, and we went out with one of her daughters, and my son-in-law just had a very, very good time, and hope you had a great time as well. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. Let's get right to it. And by the way, as we've been mentioning for a couple weeks now, we have this new capability. We've got all the lights on in the studio. We've got streaming, and you can, if you choose, instead of simply listening to us, you can also watch us. Easiest way to do it is just to go to WTMJ.com, and you'll see a button. One says Listen Live. Another button says Watch Live, and you can stream us. Actually, I'm kind of dressed up for the occasion today. As I said, this is the start of Armed Forces Week, which is a big deal in Milwaukee every year. And the first day of Armed Forces Week always kicks off with a banquet that they have at the Wisconsin Club. It's sold out, and I have been really very fortunate to have been invited to MC it for probably at least the last 10 years, maybe more than that. And so that event is tonight, so I'm kind of dressed up for my MC duties. But if you are one of the hundreds and hundreds of people that will be at the event tonight, look forward to seeing you. Okay, let us get started. You will remember perhaps years ago, there was the story about the woman who sued McDonald's because she got the cup of coffee and she spilled it in her lap, and she said McDonald's was liable because, they shouldn't be serving hot coffee. Okay, well, I don't know about you, but, I want hot coffee. That's the idea. And so there's a lot of discussion about that. Well, there is another case involving McDonald's that is back in the news as a result of something that a Florida jury did last week. Here's the story, and I want to get to your reaction. This is how we'll start off the program for this week. So it is in 2019. It is a McDonald's drive-thru outside of Fort Lauderdale. There's the woman who's in the car. She's got her two kids with her. One is her young son, and the other is her then 4-year-old autistic daughter. Okay? So they go through the drive-thru, and the kids are, I believe, in the back seat. And the mom orders like chicken McNuggets, like the Happy Meals that you get. So she gets the food. They serve the chicken McNuggets. The mom turns around and she gives the Happy Meal to her 4-year-old autistic daughter who is in the back seat. The daughter spills the chicken McNuggets. So they go falling all over her lap. Now, this is Florida, and I presume she's in a dress or she's wearing shorts or whatever. One of the chicken McNuggets somehow gets lodged between the little girl's leg and her seatbelt. So it's not, and I don't exactly understand how this could happen, but the chicken McNugget is wedged between the seatbelt and her leg. So it's not just like, okay, you've spilled something in your lap and you brush it off. So the chicken McNugget, again, lodged between the seatbelt and her leg, the girl starts screaming, because it's hot and she's getting burned. It takes about a minute or two for the mom to figure out what's going on. She said she didn't understand why the girl was screaming, didn't know what was wrong until she ultimately pulls over to help her daughter, who is now, by the way, 7. At this point in time, she sees the Chicken McNugget, which is wedged between the seatbelt and her leg, and she takes photos of this, including the girl screaming that she has been burned. The parents sue McDonald's, alleging that McDonald's and the franchise owner failed to adequately train their employees, failed to warn customers about the, quote, dangerous temperature of the food, and says that they cooked the food to a much higher temperature than necessary. Now, both sides, McDonald's and the family, agree that the nugget did cause the girl to get burned. The family says the temperature of the nugget was above 200 degrees. The defense says, no, it's no more than 160 degrees. And McDonald's says, okay, the food has to be hot to avoid salmonella poisoning. And they also argue, okay, Chicken McNuggets are not meant to be pressed between a seatbelt and human flesh for over 2 minutes, which is what happened. So McDonald's says, look, this isn't us. We didn't do anything wrong. The problem is, of course, that the little girl, who was 4 years old and autistic, spills the stuff, and then the chicken nugget in this freak sort of thing gets wedged between her seatbelt and her leg, and it's there for a couple of minutes. Well, okay, last week, McDonald's and the franchise holder, in a split verdict by the jury, were held at fault for this. Jury's going to determine what the damages are, but the jurors found the franchise holder, that would be the owner of the McDonald's, liable for negligence and failure to warn customers about the risk of hot food. Negligence and failure to warn customers about the risk of hot food. And they found McDonald's USA, the parent company, liable for failing to provide instructions for the safe handling of food. Now, McDonald's says, our sympathies go out to this family for what occurred in this unfortunate incident, as we hold customer safety as one of our higher priorities. We are, however, deeply disappointed with today's verdict because the facts show our restaurant in Florida did indeed follow those protocols when cooking and serving the Happy Meal. Our number, 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. All right, now this matter is clearly going to be appealed. Now, on the one hand, you've got a 4-year-old at the time, 7-year-old now, autistic child who does sustain a burn, all right, because of the facts that I've described. Do you believe that this is something that either the local restaurant or McDonald's in general should be held liable for? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Hey, I'm John Mercure.
And I'm Sandy Maggs.
Great news for fans of Wisconsin's afternoon news.
You can now hear every episode of the show across the podcast universe.
That's right. You'll never have to miss a single interview, story, or fun conversation.
It's $500 million in tax money in Illinois. They do not care about that. Robin Voss has said this will not be an economic argument. I don't care if we literally get $1 trillion.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Presented by Geis Garage Doors. Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
New windows? Where do I begin? It seems everyone is staking claim that their window is the best. Let's talk about 4 characteristics of windows that are important: energy efficiency, aesthetics, operation, and installation. If their window is the best, these qualities should stand out. Living in Wisconsin, energy efficiency is important for your comfort and your wallet. While many companies want to focus on glass ratings, we can't forget that air infiltration is just as important. You can have the best glass in the world. It is useless if wind is whistling around it and you're losing money out the window. The best window should look amazing. When comparing and contrasting, so often the less attractive windows have wider, bulky frames and hardware that looks like an afterthought. If you are seeking the best, then narrow, sleek frames that look beautiful as well as maximize the glass space will give you a gorgeous window that allows more natural light into your home. How easy do your windows operate? Are they tough to clean or even impossible to open? How they operate is very important for the best windows. The best windows are easy to clean and easy to open. True professional installation will assure your windows perform and operate fantastic. The best product in the world will not perform if it is installed wrong. Siding Unlimited's showroom is open so you can see, touch, feel, investigate your window choice. We offer the best windows and can prove it. Stop on by. Siding Unlimited is an easy place to begin.
Our local and family-owned Siding Unlimited is Pella Windows Platinum Elite Certified Contractor of the Year in the whole USA. And for 3 years running. Get the best windows installed by the best installer. Go first to sidingunlimited.com.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620, Old National Bank Talk and Text Line. If you're just tuning in, jury finds for this little girl. What happened a couple years ago, the girl at the time was 4 years old. She is autistic. She's in the back seat belted in the car, along with her younger brother. Mom goes through the drive-through at a McDonald's outside of Fort Lauderdale, orders a box of Chicken McNuggets. She then gives the box of Chicken McNuggets to her 4-year-old autistic daughter in the back seat. The child spills the chicken nuggets all over herself. One of the chicken nuggets gets wedged between the girl's seatbelt and her bare leg. I assume she's wearing shorts or something like that. She starts screaming. The mother can't figure out what's going on. It takes a couple minutes for mom to pull over, look at the back, and see that there's this hot chicken nugget that is wedged between her leg and the seatbelt. Mom then sues McDonald's, both the local franchise and the company, the overall company, alleging that McDonald's was negligent because essentially they cooked the food too hot. 855-616-1620. As one of our texters starts off, which was the first thing I thought of. Jeff, I have a 9-year-old autistic child. He does not understand danger or the difference between hot and cold. I never give him food until I deem it a safe temperature. That is my responsibility as his parent. 855-616-1620. I mean, I think that's the first thing I thought of. Who, especially if you know you have a special needs child, who just gives the kid the box of food, in the back seat? Isn't it going to be kind of foreseeable that maybe that she's going to spill this type of stuff? Plus, this is a freak thing. I mean, one of the chicken nuggets just happens to get wedged between the seatbelt and her leg. But is this McDonald's fault? And don't you want the chicken nuggets to be cooked? Now, again, there's a dispute. McDonald's says it was about 160 degrees. The lady says it was about 200 degrees. McDonald's says you have to cook it to like 160 degrees to make sure that people don't get sick. It's a freak accident. Is McDonald's responsible? Let's start with Paul in Illinois. Paul, you're first. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi, Jeff.
Hi, Paul.
No, I do not believe McDonald's. I do not believe McDonald's should be liable. Number one, the 4-year-old is not going to be able to read any instructions that a lawyer could draft in regard to the safety and temperature. So if anybody's that negligent, I think it should be the mother. She put her kids at risk. You cannot serve undercooked chicken.
Right.
And you cannot, I'm sorry, Jeff. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is a nuisance lawsuit, and it's going to come back to bite not only McDonald's, but if it's one, but everybody else that has to pay for that.
I know. I guess I'm with you, Paul. Sometimes stuff just happens, and you want. I don't know about you. I don't go to the fast food drive-thrus that much anymore. But when I do, or when I go to a restaurant or whatever, I want the food to be served hot. This is a freak accident, and everybody agrees that she was burned. But, in most of the situations, the kid's going to drop the Chicken McNuggets and she's going to brush them off. McDonald's says, hey, Chicken McNuggets were not meant to be pressed between somebody's bare leg and a seatbelt for up to 2 minutes. That's going to burn almost anything. So you got a lot of stuff that's going on here. You're right, Paul. It's not like the child understands hot and cold. It's not like I think she's going to be able to read the instructions on the box. I'm sitting here wondering what is the mom doing giving her the box of Chicken McNuggets in the first place, which is where I think the problem starts. Let's talk to Kay in West Bend. Kay, you're on WTMJ.
I also agree it's the mother's responsibility. She knew she was ordering a hot item. Her daughter was autistic. She should have stopped the car and like we would with our children, sitting in a high chair, you blow on the food to make sure it's comfortable for the child. McDonald's should, it is a nuisance lawsuit and it should be stopped.
Yeah, well, thanks. What's going to be interesting, because there's going to be another jury that has to decide what the damages are. Look, and I understand you've got a sympathetic plaintiff here. I get it. You've got a 7-year-old now. She was 4 years old at the time, autistic child who had a burn, and of course that the mom is videoing this. I got to believe the mom is thinking lawsuit from the beginning. So the mom is videoing this, and so you've got this little child who's screaming in pain, and I'm sure it was painful. I mean, she did get burned. But the question is, what would you have McDonald's do differently? I mean, seriously, we want our chicken to be cooked, or else, people are going to end up getting sick. You can't put warning. I mean, I don't know how you warn, hey, don't spill the box and, wedge a hot chicken McNugget between yourself and the seatbelt. I mean, at some point in time, you have to figure that there's some degree of common sense. And I guess I'm sitting here wondering, especially given that you've got a special needs kid, what's going on with the mom that you essentially just give the kid the box of food and then you end up driving off? Let's talk to Greg in Greendale. Greg, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The autism doesn't come into play to me. I'm sympathetic toward it, but it's the idea of food has to be by law a certain temperature
right
to protect us from illness. And to warn all of this kind of a warning, what literally is next? That car manufacturers are going to need to put warnings on the windows. Hey, if you get in this car and the sun has been shining on your black leather seats for too long,
it's going to be hot.
You're wearing shorts.
Yeah.
You might burn your legs.
Yeah.
I mean, because that has happened to people.
Sure.
And we've lost our edge of common sense for some of these things.
Well,
and how a reasonable jury decided that McDonald's was in fault for serving hot food.
Right.
That was meant to be hot when you bought it is beyond me.
Well, I mean, Greg, thanks. I mean, I'll tell you what I think is subconsciously going on with the jury. You have a little girl who was burned, who was clearly in pain because mom has videotaped her. You got the recording of the girl screaming, so she's clearly in pain. You've got the big evil corporation McDonald's that makes all this money. You've got the local franchise owner who's probably making some money. So it's like, all right, here, who are we going to side with? Are we going to side with the little girl who was burned? I mean, or are we going to side with the big evil corporations and things like that? But you're exactly right. Where does this go from here if you're able to get away with lawsuits like this and you're able to get away with enormous recoveries? The idea, I'm just looking at what the jury found. The jury found the franchise holder, that would be the owner of the local McDonald's, negligent for failure to warn customers about the risk of hot food. I don't even know what the heck that means. I mean, I've seen the warnings that you see at restaurants and all that say, eating undercooked food can result in like all sorts of bad things happening. I don't know how you would have, what do you put on the outside of the Chicken McNuggets box? And by the way, this is a 4-year-old kid who's not going to be able to read it. You put in big letters, gee, the contents might be hot, be careful before you drop them onto your lap and wedge them between your seatbelt and your leg. Now, I mean, it seems to me this is completely and totally on the mom. This strikes me as being, an effort to kind of win the legal lottery. And I don't know what the jury ultimately, like I say, another jury is going to award damages, and then the matter is going to go up on appeal. But at some point in time, you have these people, and bad stuff happens. Look, I understand that. I'd be the first to tell you, bad stuff happens from time to time. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's not really anybody's fault. all right, it's an unfortunate situation. You've got the kid spills the Chicken McNuggets, one wedges in this like weird sort of like freaky kind of accident, and she's burned and she's injured. It's too bad, but it's not McDonald's fault. It's not the local restaurant's fault. If there's any fault to go around, I would argue that it probably lies mostly on the mom, who shouldn't have given her the hot food in the first place without checking it out, and shouldn't have just let her unattended while she's driving off with the kid in the back seat of the car, so she's not in a position to deal with it. But that's not what a jury decides. It's just, you wonder where all this is going. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC. This is going to be interesting, so pay attention.
Mountains and trees. Ducks and hunting dogs. Dinosaur bones. Meteorites. Steel that's carved like the leather stirrups on a Western saddle. Damascus steel, like they make swords out of. Carbon fiber. Hardwood.
Manly things.
Hardwood. You already said that. I know. I just like the sound of it. Hardwood. It does have a nice ring to it.
Ring. I see what you did there.
I'm sorry. I got us off track.
Kessler's has wedding bands for men.
Real men.
Made of manly things.
He wants you to wear a big, beautiful diamond so that everyone you meet will know how much he loves you. Why not insist that he wear something equally cool?
You'll tell your grandkids about the day you went shopping for this wedding band at Kessler's when they ask,
Where did you get such a cool ring? And what is it made of?
Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
Here's to soaking up surf culture on Wisconsin's fresh coast. Here's to beaches designed for people of all abilities. To sand between your toes and happiness in your heart. Here's to trading skylines for endless Wisconsin shorelines. And to ending each day with smiles all around. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
A lot of people weighing in on our talk and text line. One of our listeners, Lamar from Orlando, Florida, says, warning, cooked food may be hot after we cook it. Yeah, at some point in time, it's like, all right, I understand you want to warn people about defects, but all right, you're ordering hot food. Warning, cooked food might be hot after we cook it. What a surprise. So don't drop it on yourself and don't let it wedge between the seatbelt. Why not sue the seatbelt manufacturer? As long as we're looking for deep pockets, why not sue the car company as well? Because obviously there's something had to have been wrong with the seatbelt and shoulder harness that a Chicken McNugget could get between the shoulder harness or the seatbelt and the little girl's leg. I mean, as long as you're going to be suing people, let's just sue everybody. Not. WTMJ Breaking News time is 12:30 p.m. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. The man accused of leaking classified military documents will have his detention hearing Friday in Massachusetts. Prosecutors say 21-year-old Air National Guardsman Jack Texera is a flight risk and should remain in custody while awaiting trial. Air National Guard post in Madison is the first U.S. Air Force installation to eliminate all firefighting elements containing forever chemicals, or PFAS, from its facility. Truax Field completed the renovation of 5 of its hangars this spring and included new water-based fire suppression systems instead of the phone systems that had had been used for decades. The Department of Defense is requiring all military bases to phase out PFAS-containing foam by October of 2024. Vice Media is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection following years of financial trouble. A group of Vice's lenders has submitted a bid of $225 million to acquire the company out of bankruptcy. The move is not expected to interrupt daily operations for Vice's business. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 2 points, the S&P 500 up 6, and the Nasdaq Composite is up 65. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. The only big problem we have out there is that one that's been sitting around most of the morning. I-894 westbound from the Mitchell interchange to the Hale interchange. It's going to take you about twice as long. Usually that's about a 6-minute drive. It's running about 11. 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo, about 6 minutes. 94 southbound from the Marquette interchange to Layton Avenue, running about 7. And 43 northbound from the Marquette interchange to Brown Deer Road, about 11 minutes this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Wettiger Compressor, ready to service any facility at pressureisoff.biz.
Servicing world-class Wisconsin manufacturers for 9 decades. Contact Wettiger Compressor at pressureisoff.biz.
Wettiger Compressor.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly sunny today, high 65 to 72. Clear tonight with a low 50, lakeside 47 inland. Mostly sunny Tuesday morning, then the cold front moves in and temperatures will fall from a high of 94 back into the 50s. Mostly sunny on Wednesday with a high 56 lakefront, 62 inland. Thursday, mostly sunny 67, then a chance for showers and thunderstorms Friday with a high of 65. Right now we're at 57 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1232.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, a bad couple days on Milwaukee roadways. One collision that resulted in 4 people losing their lives raises a very, very difficult question. I will ask that question in just a moment.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Live life to the fullest. Hey, you hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. QC Kinetics gives people all around Milwaukee their quality of life by providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain, and not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible, using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. So where is your joint pain? In your knees, your hips, shoulders, maybe your back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, no steroids or harmful drugs. And patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Well, finally being able to exercise or walk the dog, maybe enjoying time with the family, or just working your job. Whatever it is, don't wait another day. Call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Give them a call. 414-285-3474.
When it's time for a new lawnmower, buying local is important. Purchasing one from Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment means you're well taken care of after the sale. Their knowledgeable staff handles the warranty and parts, can answer all of your questions, and is available to do tune-ups and repairs. Check out the impressive line of lawnmowers on display at the Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment showroom in Muskego. And tune in to the Fix-It Show this Saturday morning at 7, when an expert from Olson's will answer all your power equipment questions.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But now, you can buy Beautyrest Hybrid and the highest-end Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near highest-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like the Beautyrest Queen Haven Bay, was on sale for $1,178, now just $471. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So very glad to have you with us. A number of people are texting in who are watching us on our live stream, and you can listen to us by going to WTMJ.com and simply click the Listen Live button. Or alternatively, if you want to watch, we now have cameras up, and a number of people are finding us that way by hitting the Watch Live button. A number of people are wondering, why are you dressed up? Well, as I was saying at the start of the show, emceeing an event for Armed Forces this week, and just because of the timing, just decided to kind of class up my act, and so dressed for emceeing as opposed to necessarily radio today, but always a pleasure. Okay, it has been a really, really rough last, I would say, 12 to 24 hours on the local roadways. There's the story. Well, let's kind of back up. The first story I'm looking at, this comes from 3:15 a.m. this morning. 2 people from Milwaukee were hurt after a pickup truck they were in veered off the roadway and collided with a building near 20th and Center, 3:15 a.m. The driver and passenger of the pickup truck, a 24-year-old Milwaukee man and a 26-year-old Milwaukee woman, arrived at a hospital for treatment of non-fatal injuries. No other injuries were reported. So this is one where 3:15 in the morning, guy loses control and slams into the side of a building on, again, 20th and Center. And the pictures of that are kind of dramatic. The good news is it wasn't life-threatening injuries. Then, if we back up a little, here's the second story. A crash near 29th and Capitol on Monday morning. This happens about 1 a.m., injures 4 people. 1 of them has died. Milwaukee police say the crash happened about 1 a.m. A driver of a 2001 gray Oldsmobile was driving east on Capitol when it struck a tree. The man driving the car died from his injuries on the way to the hospital. 3 people in the same car were also taken to the hospital. A 35-year-old man is in critical condition, and a 21-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman are both in stable condition. So this is 1 o'clock this morning on Capitol and like 29th. Car plows into a tree. The driver is killed, and 3 other people in the car are injured, 1 critically. And then you have the worst story of the morning. 4 killed in overnight crash on Milwaukee's northwest side. This happened around 60th and Fond du Lac. And all this is happening, by the way, in the space of a couple hours. The crash happened around 11:30 p.m. And if you were watching TV news this morning, this was all over the news, because apparently what happened? An SUV driving south on 60th Street, approaching the intersection on Fond du Lac Avenue. And so it's right just a little bit north of Capitol Drive, if you can picture this. So an SUV driving south on 60th, approaching the intersection on Fond du Lac Avenue, when it collided with a minivan that was traveling west on Fond du Lac. And if you look at the pictures of this crash, it is absolutely horrific. What the police say is that as a result of the crash, several people were ejected from the minivan that was struck. 4 of the people from the minivan died as a result of their injuries at the scene. 17-year-old boy, 2 15-year-old girls, and a 21-month-old baby have died. The driver of the minivan, this is the car that was hit, was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and 1 passenger was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. So 4 children, 3 teenagers and a 21-month-old baby have died. The driver of the minivan is taken to the hospital in critical condition, and 1 other passenger is hospitalized in stable condition. The driver of the striking vehicle, an SUV, is a 32-year-old woman, and she was taken into custody on suspicion of operating while intoxicated. So no charge has been issued yet, but at least the operating theory is there's a concern that this woman driving the SUV is drunk and smashes into this vehicle. 3 teenagers, a 21-month-old baby are dead, and other people are, the driver's in critical condition and somebody else is injured. Just an absolutely horrific sort of situation. And it just raises a lot of questions. But there was one aspect of this story that caught my attention, and it's, aside from just the absolute horror of this, that I want to use as kind of the jumping off point for something that I think cannot be emphasized enough. So you've got 4 people that are dead, the baby and the 3 teenagers. You've got the driver who is in is in critical condition, and 1 other. The aspect of this story that caught my attention is where, of the people who died, officials said several people were ejected from the minivan that was struck. 4 people from the minivan died from their injuries at the scene. Now, we don't know exactly what happened, but I think it is a fair inference when you hear ejected from the minivan. It is a fair inference that people probably weren't wearing their seatbelts. The kids probably weren't wearing their seatbelts. Now, that we don't know for sure at this point in time. So for the purpose of the discussion, I want to move beyond the facts of this particular case. More of that will come out. But I want to have this broader conversation. When I first learned how to drive, and when I first started driving, this was before, I don't even know that they had shoulder harnesses. You had the seat belts, you had the lap belts, and I would say usage back then, maybe it was 50-50. And I heard all the different excuses. It was like, well, I don't like wearing my seatbelt because I think it's too confining. Or whenever you have a conversation like this, every once in a while somebody will come in and say, well, I know somebody who knows somebody who has a boyfriend who had a cousin that was involved in an automobile crash, and if they had been wearing their seatbelt, they would have died. And I appreciate that there might be that unicorn out there. But I've never, ever, ever nowadays understood why people choose not to wear their seatbelts. Because the truth is, cars are a lot safer. You've got all these different safety factors that are built into cars, but they all start with the premise that you're going to be restrained in the car by the seatbelts. And so many times, now, I'm not saying, by the way, that every time that there's a car crash that it's not going to be fatal if you're wearing a seatbelt. That's not true. But I think if you look at the statistics, what they will tell you overwhelmingly is if you are wearing your seatbelt and your shoulder harness, you have a much greater chance of surviving a car crash than you do if if you're not otherwise wearing the belt. And if you think about it, it makes eminent sense because you get slammed into at a high rate of speed. And your body is just like a projectile. You get thrown around the car. In this case, they say 4 people were ejected. Well, once you get thrown out of the car, you're going to be landing on concrete or whatever that might be. Your chances of becoming seriously injured, and again, I'm not arguing this might have been just such a horrific crash that it doesn't matter whether people are belted in or not. And we don't know any of that. But I want to talk about this larger concept, which is why in the world, in today's day and age, in 2023, when you get in your car and your kids get in the car, why is there any reason at all not to make sure before you drive 3 feet, not to make sure that everybody is wearing a seatbelt? And yet, I understand there's probably some of you out there that don't do that. And you just kind of make this decision, well, I'm not going to do it. This is something I frankly don't get. And again, I'd want to move beyond this horrible thing that happened last night. When I hear, like I say, when I hear people ejected, that tells me in all likelihood they're not wearing their seatbelts. But it could have been something different than that. So I want to move beyond the individual facts of that to the larger question of, is there any reason in God's green earth for people not to wear seatbelts nowadays? 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. And I recognize I'm preaching a little bit here, but I think it needs to be done because your chances of surviving a serious automobile collision are so much greater if you're wearing the seatbelts than if you're not, that to me it just makes no sense to not wear the seatbelts for you, for your passengers, for your children. 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
Advent founder Dr. Madan Kandula.
If you were formally breathing properly and we just plugged your nose up, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it for a few minutes. You're not going to like it for an hour. You wouldn't stand it for a day. If we're talking weeks, you're going to be clawing at the walls to get that thing off. And if we're talking months to years to decades, Many of our patients are basically walking around with clothespins on their nose and they don't know any difference. They've never experienced what life is supposed to be like when you breathe properly, and so for them, they feel like it's normal. It should be no surprise that many of the folks that we treat have downstream conditions. So if somebody's nose isn't working properly, if somebody's throat isn't working properly, they're not breathing properly. And when you don't breathe properly, it creates problems for your body.
When you breathe well, you live better. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment today.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
At SimpliSafe, we design award-winning security to protect every inch of your home. It's easy to set up yourself, and now there's an even easier option. Have an expert do it for you with SimpliSafe Pro Install. Always protecting, never a contract. 2 easy installation options, backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
At Semper Fi, the path to self-improvement never ends. So it feels good to be good. It's been 20 years, and we'll make sure you feel like you made a great decision to have us work on your next exterior remodeling project.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi. Hey, boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Got an old boat, a new boat in between. Kendor Marine. Upholstery and parts, hard to find things. Kendor Marine. Hey, boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Like a boat-loving kid in a candy store. Kendor Marine. If you have a question, we have the expertise at Kendor Marine. Hey, boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water.
Easy to find at 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin or at KendorMarine.com.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620, which is the old National Bank talk and text line. And I want to move beyond. Maybe once more details emerge about this horrific crash, last evening that killed 3 teenagers and the baby. There's a lot of stuff going on. The driver of one vehicle they think might have been intoxicated, and there's a red light being run, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. But the 4 people who died were ejected from the vehicle, and as one of our texters points out, Jeff, a lot of times when somebody's ejected from the vehicle, it means they went through the windshield or they went through. It's not like It's not like the thing that happened a week or so ago when you had the kids that were hanging out of the window when they slammed into the school bus and the kid was thrown out of the window. Most times you're going through a window or something like that. There'll be enough time to break that down. But I just know that there's a lot of situations out there where people still don't wear seatbelts. And I do not understand this. And so this is beyond, they'll find out whether the kids were in seatbelts or not. But is there any reason in today's day and age, period, for any of us to go out and drive the car a foot or 3 feet without having seatbelts on? And my answer would be no. I want you to be listening to me for as long as I continue to do this radio show. And your chances, if you're involved in a car crash, of being able to do that are so much greater if you're wearing a seatbelt. Pete in Germantown. Pete, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Pete.
Hi. I know why people aren't wearing their seatbelts because it's arrogance and ignorance. On my steering wheel right now, it says SRS airbag. Well, what does that mean? SRS stands for Supplemental Restraint System. Well,
right.
Supplemental to what?
Right.
It's supplemental to the seatbelts. Airbags are always designed to work with seatbelts. Everybody thinks, well, because I have the airbags, there's 15 in my car, I'm not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
I don't need a seatbelt. And that's the reason why. They just think they know better, and they don't.
I get, actually one of our listeners is saying Fox 6 News just sent out a push notification that a fifth person has passed away in connection with that. Wow. Yeah, it's right. That's it. You've got cars are safer now, Pete, than they have ever been. But all these things, work in conjunction with each other. The seatbelt and the shoulder harness restrains you. The airbag stops you from going through the windshield. I mean, it's all these different things. But you've got to. It starts with you have to be belted in, because if you're not belted in, you're still going to get thrown around that compartment like a rag doll.
Exactly.
No, I think that to me is the frustrating thing. We just. Okay, so 2 weekends ago you had the coronation of now King Charles, and that of course brings back memories of when Princess Diana passed away. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and so her car, it's driving at a high rate of speed, trying to get away from paparazzi, and it slams into whatever it slams into in that tunnel. If she had been wearing a seatbelt, she walks away from that with a bruised sternum, bruise on her chest. Instead, boom, you go through the windshield or whatever. It's just, whether it's kids or adults, you got to wear these seatbelts. And whenever you see somebody ejected, most times that tells you that they weren't wearing the seatbelt. And again, I don't guarantee you that if you're in a horrific car crash, you're going to survive regardless of, if you are wearing a seatbelt. I just guarantee you that your chances of survival are so much better. James on the South Side. James, you're on WTMJ.
Yeah, Jeff, you would think that people would wear their seatbelt because of the insurance and everything else, just like a driver's license and the whole other, the thing that you should be able to have. If you don't have it, I guess then your insurance rate should go on up, or you shouldn't be insured. Should be a risk as for insurance, getting insurance or insured at all. On that.
Yeah, well, I mean, James, thanks. I mean, I guess you're. That's. I mean, I appreciate the insurance aspect of this, but it's so much more significant. I know people who will say, "Oh, I'm only going to the grocery store." Or whatever. I'm only going a couple miles. Well, if you look at a percentage of fatal accidents, a lot of them happen within a couple miles because you go through, you've got the light, you go through the green light, and you have the drunk person who's going twice the speed limit who slams into the driver's side door of your car, and boom, you end up getting ejected or whatever. One of our texters says, Jeff, I'm a long-serving and retired police officer. On a personal note, my dear father was one of those long, drawn-out storytellers about burning, drowning, and being trapped in exploding cars. He was tragically killed in a traffic collision. He was not wearing a seatbelt. We still miss him. Yeah, it's just that's the thing. And I always run into people like that. Oh, I don't wear the seatbelts because I don't like to be confined. Get over it. I mean, it becomes second nature after a while. And on a lot of the newer cars, I just got a new car, and you can't, if you even try to drive without the seatbelt, it just keeps binging and binging and binging. It's just, I mean, I guess you could theoretically, every time you got in the car, you could, buckle it behind you or something. But why in the world would anybody do that? Why would you try to defeat these safety sort of things? Jeff, right. It's just, this. Jeff, talk about not wearing seatbelts. When we were kids, I remember we had one of those old station wagons where you sat in the back and faced the car behind you. Right. I mean, I freely acknowledge, it took me a while to come to this conclusion because when I grew up, seatbelts, they weren't. A lot of people just made absolutely that decision. The same thing was, okay, well, you don't want to be confined. You want to be able to get out of the cars or whatever. It just does not make any sense at all. And if you go back and you look at the number of fatalities, I think it would be interesting to see the numbers as to how many of the traffic fatalities involved people who were not wearing their seatbelts. So I guess that's my message in general. If you're driving around, wear a seatbelt. If you've got kids in the car, make them wear a seatbelt. Because if you look at the number one instance of people who wear seatbelts, you know what it is? It's their parents wore seatbelts. If it just becomes second nature, that, okay, that's what you do. You buckle up before the car goes anywhere, and you teach that to kids. When they start driving, they're going to do that, and they're going to teach it to their kids. So we don't want to have this senseless stuff that's out there. And sometimes these automobile collisions, as horrific as they are, you could nevertheless walk away from them. But it starts almost always with being willing to wear a seatbelt. Back with more in just a couple minutes. This is Jeff Wagner.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ. No, he's not going to put you in the lineup. But luckily, this is the closest you can get to the skipper himself.
I mean, Robin is the all-time Brewer for sure.
Greg Council, every Tuesday on Wisconsin's Morning News at 7:45.
You know, Willie is, I think a player that, is capable of taking down some of the things that Robin has done.
This is Brewers 360, presented by Holiday Automotive and Outdoor Living Unlimited.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too, because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Humans can do a lot of amazing things. Fighting bugs isn't one of them. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to fight off bugs safely and effectively. Use as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Hurt by a truck? Call Gruberg offices. One call, that's all.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. At LAK Group, they call great leaders agile leaders, those who inspire and are agents of change, driving organizational improvement. These leaders attract talent and positively impact business outcomes. LAK creates agile leaders, offering custom leadership development programs tailored to your organization's mission. They can take you from good to great. Learn more about the leadership development programs at LAK Group. Visit transformingcareers.com. LAK Group. Discover your human advantage.
All Brewers games are on sale now, including a Memorial Day weekend showdown with the Giants. Thursday, May 25th through Sunday, the 28th. Start the long weekend right at Aloha Friday on the 26th and get a Brewers Hawaiian shirt with a special ticket package. Then take home a Christian Yelich patriotic jersey giveaway on Saturday, the 27th, presented by Chevrolet. Get your seats at Brewers.com.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
Really looking at the entire space holistically. The environment, the walls, ceilings, lighting, flooring, furniture, technology, along with acoustics.
To conceptualize how the end users are going to interact with the room, from the furniture all the way down to the AV, having that work seamlessly within the environment and often hiding within the furniture.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
It's WTMJ's Steve Schifidi for Educators Credit Union. On behalf of all of Educators Credit Union, they would like to express their sincere gratitude to all our public safety professionals. Despite the obstacles you face every day, you continue to make the selfless decision to show up and serve local communities. The care, courage, and commitment it takes does not go unnoticed. Thank you for taking the time away from your family to protect, support, and care for ours. Thank you for all that you do.
Heard it work? Contact Tayback for the payback. Go to taybackattorneys.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. A little birdie told us you're not doing so hot.
Here it is, swinging a line drive to a leaping grab by Willie Adames. He timed it perfectly and pulled it down.
The Brewers are in St. Louis with coverage starting at 6:10. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
1 o'clock, we have 58 degrees, mostly sunny today with a high 65 lakeside, 72 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says he hopes a deadly traffic crash overnight can serve as a wake-up call, reminding drivers to follow traffic rules. At least 4 people were killed when a speeding driver ran into another vehicle near 60th and Fond du Lac Avenue. TMJ4's Julia Fellow.
In the car that blew the red light, 4 people were killed. This includes 2 15-year-old females, a 17-year-old male, and 21-month-old baby girl. 2 others in the car are hospitalized, including the driver of the car, who is in serious condition.
The driver of the speeding vehicle expected to face operating while intoxicated charges. Meanwhile, a 68-year-old man is dead after crashing into a pole near 29th and Capitol Drive. Another man said to be in critical condition. A now former MPS staffer due back in court today after he was accused of sexually assaulting students at a Milwaukee public school. 33-year-old Randall Jefferson charged with 10 felonies, including 3 counts of soliciting a child for prostitution and 3 counts of child enticement. According to the criminal complaint, over the course of 2 years, Jefferson pressured 4 students to perform sex acts on multiple different occasions. The complaint says Jefferson would offer the victims, all of whom were 13 or 14 years old, money or gifts in exchange for the sex acts. A new phishing tool being used to steal information and money from We Energies customers. Brendan Conway of We Energies tells TMJ4 News multiple customers have been tricked into handing over money and Social Security information to these scammers.
These people are buying an ad using those keywords, and that ad shows up at the top of the search results above our website and above our phone number. And the people now are calling that number thinking it's We Energies.
To avoid these scams, Conway suggests only calling the number on their app or your personal bill. While the rush has not been as big as was feared, there are many migrants who have claimed asylum after Title 42's end on Friday. Many are in limbo, stuck south of the U.S. border wall, but north of the Mexican border wall. Volunteers helping feed them.
Between Mexico's border fence and the U.S. border fence separating Tijuana from San Diego, there's a no man's land. Right now, migrants waiting to claim asylum are stuck there between the 2 fences. They've technically entered the U.S., but they're still behind the border wall. Now volunteers on the San Diego side have set up to provide food and water, passing it through the fence to the waiting migrants. San Diego restaurants are collecting items to bring to them.
Our whole front area was already filled with donations.
For now, the migrants wait camped out between the 2 countries' border walls. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis this morning in Sarasota made an indirect jab at Donald Trump.
I look at the last however many election cycles. 2018, we lost the House. We lost the Senate. 2020, Biden becomes president. We lost the Senate in 2020. Biden becomes president and has done a huge amount of damage.
In Iowa, he said the GOP needs to reject a culture of losing. Number of Wisconsinites traveling for Memorial Day weekend will be close to a record.
AAA says more than 800,000 Wisconsinites will travel 50 miles or more during the holiday weekend. That's more than 6.5% from last year and only 3% short of the all-time high in 2019. Now, Friday, May 26th, that's expected to be the busiest day on the roads. The best time to travel, says AAA, in the mornings or after 6 p.m., Despite inflationary pressure, AAA says consumer spending is strong. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 104.
Our house needs a lot of work. That roof, siding.
J&J Contractors.
It's not just the outside. The bathroom needs to be completely redone.
J&J Contractors. They do it all with top-of-the-line quality craftsmanship that's all custom or semi-custom. J&J Contractors do full remodels of kitchens, baths, and basements. Your project manager is accessible to you the entire time, on-site or via their cell phone. No being passed from person to person. Visit their beautiful showroom in Greendale today. Just Google J&J Contractors.
Smooth waters and clear horizons are ahead. The experienced team of advisors at Fox World Travel are ready to uncover your cruising style. Are you sailing off into a Caribbean sunset, taking in the European charm along riverways? Maybe an exotic expedition or Alaskan cruise are on your bucket list. We'll help you cruise like never before with Royal Caribbean, Holland America, Uniworld Boutique River Cruises, and more. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call a Fox Cruise expert at 866-GO-FOX-GO.
There's a race going on inside your body, and sometimes the bad guys, otherwise known as arthritis, get there first. That's when the joint pain kicks in.
Your healing process is just too slow and just can't catch up, and it needs just a little bit of help from QC Kinetics.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a QC Kinetics medical director.
We all know that you can heal yourself. If you get a cut, it heals on its own. Your joints are no different. We can take the healing properties from your blood, concentrate them down, and put them in the spot that you need the help. It's amazing. Your body can heal itself.
At QC Kinetics, that's called regenerative medicine. No surgery or steroids, just lasting relief, the natural way.
The fact that we can treat them without surgery, but using their own body's natural healing process, without medications, without steroids, without surgery, it's just amazing.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
After a sweep of the Royals in 4-2 homestand, the Brewers hit the road for 6 straight, beginning tonight in St. Louis against the Cardinals. Coverage gets underway at 6:10 on WTMJ. Christian Yelich hitting .348 with 4 home runs in the month of May. Conference finals are set in the NBA. It'll be the Celtics and Heat in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference finals features the Lakers and top-seeded Nuggets. That series begins on Tuesday. And according to Shams Charania of The Athletic, Mark Jackson, former coach of the Golden State Warriors, will interview for the Bucks head coaching vacancy. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Still slowing I-894 westbound from the Mitchell interchange to the Hale interchange. That's usually about a 6-minute drive. It's going to take you twice as long. 41 southbound from Highway Q to the Zoo interchange running about 14. 43 northbound from downtown to Brown Deer Road 10. And 94 southbound from the Marquette interchange to Layton Avenue about a 6-minute drive this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Wenninger Compressor, ready to service any facility at pressureisoff.biz. Wenninger Compressor salutes business owners who put the I can in American while treating their customers right.
Call up the boys at Wenninger Compressor.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly sunny today, high 65 lakeside, 72 inland, mostly clear tonight with highs 50 to 47. Mostly sunny tomorrow morning, and then a cold front moves in, high 74 Tuesday, but that cold front will drop temps into the 50s. Mostly sunny Wednesday, highs 56 to 62. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high 67, and a chance for showers, maybe a thunderstorm on Friday with a high of 65. Madison 66, Green Bay 70 degrees, 58 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. Once again, all sorts of ways you can participate in the show. We've got our talk and text line. We have our phone lines, love to talk to you. There's all sorts of ways you can take it in. The typical AM radio, we're going to talk again about that. One of my former bosses has a really, really interesting column that's out that I shared on Twitter. We're going to discuss that in the 2 o'clock hour of the program. This sort of conspiracy that's out there to pull AM radios out of cars, some new developments in that, and we'll discuss that coming up in a little bit. But you've got the regular way of listening. You can stream us. You can listen to us on podcasts. We're available now. You can subscribe to our podcasts just through WTMJ.com and also through wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We're there, and I know a lot of people participate in that way. And then, of course, you can also watch live as well. We've got our own YouTube channel. And one of the things that my producer Charlie has been doing is pulling, not only do we put the whole show up there that you can watch, but also like pulling different segments that are out there. For example, a couple days ago, I saw we just posted this. It was one of my head exploding moments about the prospect of Donald Trump and Joe Biden being our choices. And so there's a couple minute segments. So we pull some of the segments as that as well. So you can check it out and see us in the studio. All right. I don't hate to say I told you so. I told you so. There is a piece out, the Badger Institute, which is sort of a conservative think tank that comes up with some very, very interesting stuff. There is a piece out that dropped over the weekend, and I cited it on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Jeff Wagner 620. But it's written by Patrick McElherron. Patrick, at least for a portion of his career, He was a unicorn. He was the rarest of rare because he was a conservative columnist employed by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I mean, it was just, it's tough to find too many conservative columnists at newspapers. It might be almost impossible now. And certainly the local newspaper, which has never been a conservative paper, has taken a really, as we point out on a regular basis, a really, 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 did I say really, really hard turn to the left. I mean, it's just, it's gone completely around the bend when it comes to, I think, the way they choose to report stories and what stories they choose to report. But back in the day, McElaren, he was a conservative columnist for the Journal-Sentinel. Well, now he writes and does stuff for the Badger Institute. Here is the piece, and it's one of these. I'm going to share a portion of it with you. Like I say, I've got a link to the entire thing up on my Twitter account if you follow me at Jeff Wagner 620. But it puts the Milwaukee streetcar in a perspective that needs to be put. Now, the controversy right now involving the streetcar is part of this shared revenue plan, the idea that, Milwaukee will get more money back from the state. There are conditions. And one of the conditions is you can't take more taxpayer dollars and use it to expand the streetcar. That's one of the rules that is in place. And the point of this column is, despite what some local officials are saying, the legislature is doing Milwaukee an incredible favor by not allowing that to happen. Get this. Here's the way the column starts. Legislature protects Milwaukeeans from $15 per rider fare-free trolley folly. In need of quiet solitude, not long ago, I did the obvious. I got on Milwaukee's streetcar, the Hop. It did not disappoint. In all, 5 people hopped on, then off, as we trundled 2.1 miles across downtown. It's a bit under what the latest federal transit data says is average. In 2021, for every mile the trolley ran, 4 people got on. For every mile the trolley ran, 4 people got on. For every hour a 150-passenger car runs, 23 people board. For every hour. That's why it surprised no one when a garbage truck crashed into a streetcar in March that no passengers were hurt, there being no passengers. It's why, again, in those latest Federal Transit Administration numbers, get this, the Hop cost $15.03 per ride in operating expenses. Never mind the cost of the rails and the wires. Not a dime of it paid by passengers. Let me go back. The Hop costs $15.03 per ride in operating expenses. And again, that's not the cost that put in the wires and maintain them and the rails. Operating costs, $15.03 per ride. McElaren writes, it's why the legislature is doing Milwaukee a favor when it says enough. The low passenger counts along the route that was supposed to be the most hungry for trams, train station to 3rd Ward to office towers, are only half the equation. The numerator is the cost. The FTA's, Federal Transit Administration's, latest figures say that in 2021, for every hour a Milwaukee streetcar is out impeding traffic, it costs the city $351. $351. $15 a ride. I think you can make a strong argument. Now, keep in mind, it's only 2.1 miles. I think you can make a strong argument that you would be better off paying for having the taxpayers pay for Uber rides for anybody who wants to travel along this 2-mile route. Some might cost more than $15, some will cost less than $15, but I would argue that it might be cheaper for the taxpayers to pay $15 a ride for every Uber ride as opposed to supporting the Hop. Okay, all right, so he also says the overall cost, $351 for every hour a Milwaukee streetcar is out. And this gets to other points that people like me have been making for years. Compare that to the alternative. The Milwaukee County Transit System runs not only throughout downtown, but through much of Metro Milwaukee. It uses buses, plain old buses, though clean and comfortable. Every hour a bus is running on the streets, it picks up about half as many passengers as the streetcar, but it costs only $103 to operate, or 29% of the price. Buses just cost less to run. $142 per vehicle hour in Madison, for instance, or $95 in Appleton. Streetcars cost more. Portland's larger established system pays $251 an hour in operating costs. Philadelphia pays $275. This suggests the hop will remain costly even if the city expands it past the best-case starter route, as supporters hope. It will remain costly even if ridership bounces back. In 2019, when new, the trolley attracted 760,000 people to take free fare rides. Ridership crashed in 2020 amid pandemic lockdowns. Despite the hop still being free, it has only half recovered, with 372,000 passengers last year. Squeeze your eyes shut and wish hard for 500,000 this year. That still translates into about $10 a ride. And again, that's just operating cost. The existing 2.1-mile setup cost $124 million, including about $4.5 million each for the cars. And then it just goes on to talk about this. But see, here is the bottom line. Nobody is riding the hop. The cost is astronomical, $15 per rider. The numbers are terrible, but the only way they're even able to get the terrible numbers is by offering free rides. And keep in mind, when you had all these ridership projections when they were first developing the hop, it assumed that there was going to be a fare of $1. You know, every time you put on, you have to pay $1, which would help to partially offset the cost. But what's happened is the people that are pushing the streetcar understand that if you charged a quarter for the ride, the numbers that the people that ride free would absolutely crater. And so that's why the taxpayers of the city of Milwaukee are underwriting it. But you look at the numbers, and again, one of the points that I have been making since we built the trolley in the first place is it would have been so much better to put that money into the bus system, because buses are dramatically cheaper to operate. In addition, buses have the flexibility of being able to go, rubber-tired buses, they can go wherever they want. You have a Brewers playoff game at American Family Field. You can add buses that go there. You have Summerfest going on. All right, you can add buses to take people down and drop them off at Summerfest or the ethnic festivals or whatever. You have this flexibility, which isn't required by the 2.1-mile streetcar line where it is fixed. But for everybody who wants to argue this is a good thing, $15.03 per rider. And that is money that is coming out of, again, the general tax revenue. So the city is supporting that. It's dramatically more expensive than buses. Bottom line is, it just makes absolutely no sense. And the truth is, the sooner they shut this thing down and work out a deal with the federal government that lets them shut it down without having huge penalties, the better it is going to be, because it is a giant revenue suck. It is going to continue to suck revenue from the city for no apparent use. $15.03 per rider. It's crazy that we're doing that. And if you want to see the breakdown of the numbers, again, Badger Institute has a great piece. I've got a link to it. You can follow me at Jeff Wagner 620 on Twitter.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Hey, I'm John Mercure.
And I'm Sandy Max.
Great news for fans of Wisconsin's afternoon news.
You can now hear every episode of the show across the podcast universe.
That's right. You'll never have to miss a single interview, story, or fun conversation.
You're not giving in to the process.
Yeah, you're done? You're done.
Well, I was hoping somebody would try and slide a little food. There's a little slot here underneath the door, some cold cuts, pretty thin.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner for the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. A serious diagnosis of cancer, heart disease, or a neurological condition may lead you to being offered a clinical trial. Dr. Ben George, a Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin medical oncologist and the director of Cancer Clinical Trials Office, sheds light on what clinical trials are, how they fit into treatment, and why they're so very important. Listen to that conversation and all our previous Everyday Health discussions by visiting the features drop-down menu at WTMJ.com.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved. But here, you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Hi, this is Julie Coombs and Cindy Storm Fisher with Storm Fisher Investment Group. Are you a retiring professional worried about the direction of our economy, about making your money last?
Come see what we can do for you. Let us show you how we take care of you to help you have a great retirement.
We are at 262-796-8400 or stormfisher.com. See you soon.
Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Arbor Point Advisors LLC. Storm Fisher, Arbor Point, and Securities America are separate entities.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Here's a tale from the front lines. Jeff, we took the hop back from the 3rd Ward to Kilbourne Avenue the other Friday night. It broke down on Milwaukee and Kilbourne. They wouldn't let us walk home 3 blocks. The light changed cycles 4 times while waiting. Timing versus walking, 30 minutes versus 20 minutes. Take a ride down East Michigan Street. New tracks are being installed by many workers. Yes, we're tearing up the city. You're making it more difficult for cars to get around for this loser of a system that is being underwritten by general tax revenues, $15.03 per ride. It is staggering that we are continuing to do this. All right. Let us switch gears. Story in the Wall Street Journal today. It's the war on milk. We all talk about how we want to have kids eat healthier. You know, at MPS, it seems like, every month or two that they have walkouts from the kids who are complaining about the quality of the school lunches. And we have ongoing discussions, and I know some of you disagree with me. Some of you think that, regardless of income, it doesn't matter that whether a family has $500,000 or $250,000 or $1 million a year in income, that the taxpayers have an obligation to provide, free breakfasts and lunches for their kids. I disagree. I have no problems with, school lunches and school breakfasts being provided for those who come from families where they're economically challenged. But I think there's just no reason at all why a couple paying taxes, living on a fixed income as retirees, should be paying for the student lunches of, again, a family of 2 doctors who's making $500,000 a year. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But regardless, I think you can't argue with the fact that you want student lunches to be stuff that the kids are going to eat. So here is the story. Chocolate milk, long a school cafeteria mainstay, is on the verge of potentially being removed from the menu. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is worried about the amount of added sugars that children are consuming, is considering a ban on flavored milk, including chocolate, strawberry, or other varieties in elementary and middle schools. See, the USDA is in the process of adopting new rules for healthy meals and stuff. And one of the things that they're considering is, well, if you look at flavored milk, a lot of the flavoring in these milk, it comes from sugars. And the argument is that kids have too much sugar in their diets, which contributes to childhood obesity, and flavored skim milk is the top source of added sugars at both school breakfasts and school lunches. So what the USDA is considering doing is ordering that at elementary and in middle schools, you can no longer serve flavored milk to the kids. Now, of course, the dairy industry is saying, look, look at all the benefits that you get from milk, and look at all the proteins and all the good stuff that is there, exactly, what kids want. And the truth is that if you remove the options of chocolate or strawberry milk, and you just say, okay, your alternatives are like 1% or skim milk, because you can't have 2% or more, what's going to happen is the kids aren't going to drink it. And they're going to go to sodas, or they're going to go to other things. And for example, again, in this case, I'm looking at a story, the executive director of the Urban School Food Alliance, which represents 18 of the largest school districts in the country, says, we want to take a product that most kids like and has 9 essential nutrients in it, and we want to say you can't drink this, you have to drink plain milk. What are we trying to prove? All right. Our number, 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank and Talk and Text line. No question, chocolate milk has sugars in it. Strawberry-flavored milk has sugars in it. And so the USDA is saying, we don't want the kids to have the sugar, so our answer is going to be to ban the chocolate milk. Our answer is going to be to ban the strawberry milk. We're not going to allow the kids to have that choice. Is that a good move or a bad move? Yes, they're not going to get the sugars from the milk, but they're also not going to get all the other good stuff that's in the milk, the nutrients. Should we ban chocolate milk? Should we ban strawberry milk? And what would the effect of that on kids and what they're drinking at lunch and breakfast be? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
All Brewers games are on sale now, including a Memorial Day weekend showdown with the Giants. Thursday, May 25th through Sunday, the 28th. Start the long weekend right at Aloha Friday on the 26th and get a Brewers Hawaiian shirt with a special ticket package. Then take home a Christian Yelich patriotic jersey giveaway on Saturday, the 27th, presented by Chevrolet. Get your seats at Brewers.com.
A wiser way to build your wealth.
A wiser way to build your wealth starts with choosing a financial planning firm that is fee-only, because it means they work for you. Fee-only firms like Financial Strategies, Inc. don't work for a bank or brokerage firm or an insurance company or mutual fund company, because we don't want our decisions for your best interest compromised in any way. We work for you, and only in your best interest. And fee-only means the success we care about most is yours. Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee-only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm. And I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
With inflation affecting so many families, the super affordable Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford is better than ever. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The breakfasts are big, and they're $8.99 or less. Mondays are Family Pizza Day. Enjoy a huge 18-incher for just $14.99. Easily serves a family of 4. Pizzas like this at other restaurants are $20 or more. Not at the Mine Shafts. By the way, I love their pepperoni. Tuesdays, tacos are $2.99. Your kids and grandkids can safely play in that $2 million game room, quietly tucked away from the dining area while you finish up your meal, maybe have an after-dinner drink. Sounds pretty perfect. The Mine Shaft desserts are all buy one, get one free. I love the pies and the cakes. It's absolutely to die for. It's the amazing Mine Shaft restaurant right on Main Street in beautiful downtown Hartford and right off the interstate in Oshkosh. Enjoy that huge Monday pizza for just $14.99. Tuesday tacos, $2.99. Happy hour from 2 to 5 with half-price beers and cocktails. No reservations needed. Walk in, mineshaftRestaurant.com.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
We're going to continue this conversation after the bottom of the hour news, but let me do a couple things first. We were talking off there. For people who might not know, under the rules now, schools cannot serve whole or 2% milk. Schools may choose to offer fat-free or 1% but that they can't offer 2% or whole milk. One of our texters says, Jeff, pardon my French, but this is a word I cannot say on the radio. I am by no stretch of imagination a health expert, but there is no way that childhood obesity is related in any significant way to flavored milk. It is snack foods and junk foods and lack of exercise. That is making those kids obese and sick. I think there might be something to it. Bill in Racine County. Bill, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day in Racine County. The sun's out and the grass is growing.
Well, and you're calling a radio show. What do you think about all this?
I'm a former MPS teacher, and I watch the kids eat junk food and drink sodas, and kids walking in with 64-ounce bottles of soda. Let them have whole chocolate milk. Let them have whole strawberry-flavored milk, whole banana-flavored milk, whatever they want. Let them slam that down in the morning.
Right. Get
that in their system, and when their brain starts cooking, get out of their way.
Yeah. No, Bill, I guess that's exactly, and you're exactly right. What is the alternative going to be? Okay, we say, because I think it is fair to say that one of the things that encourages the kids to drink milk is they like the flavored milk. Okay, every year, we do our cream puff-a-palooza the day before the state fair, and I go out and you will come out and stand in line and, in your car and wait for me to give you some cream puffs, and we always give you milk. And the choice is we've got 2%, or we've got like regular or skim milk, or we've got chocolate, or we've got strawberry, and everybody, well, almost everybody chooses either the chocolate or the strawberry flavored milk. And that's especially true with kids. So, Bill, you are exactly right. The choice is, do we give people the milk and understand that there's going to be some sugars in the flavored milk? But isn't that a lot better than the kid going out and buying a 64-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew or a 32-ounce bottle of pure sugar Mountain Dew? It's what is the alternatives? Do you think the kids aren't going to drink soda or something? No, give them the milk. We continue the conversation in just a moment. WTMJ Breaking News time, though, is 1:32 p.m. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Wyatt Barmore-Pooley.
Thanks, Jeff. Milwaukee police investigating a second overnight crash that left one person dead, 3 others injured, according to MPD. Early this morning, a vehicle was driving west down Capitol Drive and then hit a tree. The driver, a 68-year-old man, died en route to the hospital. One other occupant of the car currently in critical condition, 2 others in stable condition. That's in addition to the fatal crash that killed 5 people near 60th and Fond du Lac last night. The number of Wisconsinites traveling for Memorial Day weekend will be close to a record. AAA says more than 800,000 Wisconsinites will travel at least 50 miles during the holiday weekend. That's more than 65% more than last year and only 3% short of the all-time high in 2019. A house fire in Union Grove. Nobody was hurt after an explosion at a home on Crabtree Lane this morning. The Racine County Sheriff's Office says it's believed the blast occurred in the attached garage. Crews are at the scene still. Time for news about your money. It is the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, and it looks like everything is pretty much doing okay. The Dow is down just only 0.03%, just down about 9 points. The S&P 500 is up about 6.5 points, and the NASDAQ is having the best day, over a 0.5% up, 65 points up. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads, it is your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic, and it looks like we've got a couple incidents around downtown Milwaukee. Crash on the ramp from Beecher Street to 4394 southbound. It looks like it's being handled off on the, it's a little bit off onto the berm, actually, of the curb, but it looks like there's definitely something to watch out for there. And then 794 westbound, a disabled vehicle off on the right shoulder, right as you come off the Hohen Bridge. Everything else, though, is looking good.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Brave Americans who served shouldn't be denied benefits or have a disability claim incorrectly evaluated by the VA. If you're one of those vets, call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Mostly sunny skies today, a high of 65. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 50 at the lake, 47 degrees inland. Tuesday, mostly sunny. We're going to have some falling afternoon temperatures and a chance for a thunder shower in the afternoon. A high of 74, but in the afternoon, it's going to drop down into the 50s. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a high of 56. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 67. And on Friday, a chance of showers and storms, a high of 65. In Hartford, it's 66. In West Allis, it's 65. And in Milwaukee, it is 61 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1:35.
I'm Jeff Wagner. The bureaucrats with the Biden administration think they have figured out one of the big problems with school lunches: chocolate milk. We continue the conversation in just a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
As the weather starts warming up, you're probably thinking about the golf course or the lake.
Or that honey-do list.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, you probably don't want to think about painting your house again.
Jeff and Roxanne here with Rhino Shield, and we are the better-than-paint people.
Rhino Shield is an exclusive ceramic coating system that looks just like paint, is applied just like paint, but comes in any color, just like paint.
Yeah, especially your wife's favorite.
But it's not paint.
Regular paint is going to last 3 to 5 years. Rhino Shield has been proven to last for at least 25 years.
We are so confident in Rhino Shield that we give you a written 25-year transferable warranty. That's right, transferable warranty.
Get 25% off that 25-year warranty if you book by the 25th. Call 262-900-4055 or visit rhinoshield.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's time to upgrade that old patio furniture with By the Yard maintenance-free outdoor furniture. By the Yard furniture features no painting, no rotting, no splinters, no storage ever. With over 400 items in 9 UV-stabilized colors, By the Yard is proudly made in the Midwest and backed by a 35-year warranty. Explore By the Yard's outdoor furniture collection at their showroom location in Mayfair Mall, Wauwatosa, or visit bytheyard.net. That's bytheyard.net.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment and Capital Heating and Cooling. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ. Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
No milk today, my love has gone away. The bottle stands forlorn, a symbol of the dawn. No milk today.
855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. If you're just joining us, the USDA, I'm not making this up, the USDA, which is considering rolling out new rules to make school lunches healthier. Okay. And they've decided that one of the things that they are seriously looking at doing, and they are under pressure doing, is to remove flavored milk from schools. And the argument is, okay, kids drink milk, but they choose to drink chocolate or strawberry milk. And in order to get the taste that the kids appeal to, you got to put sugars in it. And so the argument is, well, yes, milk is great. You've got all these other nutrients, but, you're putting sugars in it. And so we're contributing to childhood obesity by having kids drink chocolate milk. Okay, my point is that the reason they are drinking milk in general is because it is flavored. And if you take away the strawberry and the chocolate milk, you take away the flavored milk, they're not going to drink milk. They're going to drink soda or whatever. I would also argue, as one of our texters was saying, that if you want to look at the causes of childhood obesity, really it's chocolate milk. I mean, it's probably, the 6 candy bars and, guzzling the 32-ounce, thing of sugary Mountain Dew or whatever. That's what the problem is. And of all the different things that you could try to go after, we're going to go after something that's healthy and chocolate milk. Jeff, another crazy idea by our government that shows that they don't think before they speak. Flavored milk at least gets the kids to drink milk. And by the way, I agree, kids are not getting fat or obese by drinking vitamin D milk. Government needs to lay off milk restrictions and think before they speak. Jeff, growing bones need calcium. This stuff is just unbelievable to me. Don't give me a chocolate milk, but pour on the cola and the sodas. Lunch meals are so lacking in in nutrition as it is. Jeff, what about the sodas? They have 400% more sugar compared to flavored milk, promoting obesity, diabetes, and tooth decay. Maybe let's start there. Jeff, when our daughter was young, she didn't like milk, but she loved chocolate milk. We asked our pediatrician, who said, no problem. Have her drink chocolate for the nutrients. And if you don't have chocolate milk in the house, just put a little Hershey syrup in the regular milk, right? Because it gets her, drinking the milk. Jeff, if the kids would get more exercise instead of looking at videos, or I would add, sticking their head in a cell phone, maybe they would work off the sugar intake. Jeff, there are many things that schools serve that also contribute to sugar intake that don't have nutritional benefits. For example, look at the label on most bread these days. I think that's, Jeff, I hated the school white milk. I could only drink chocolate milk. Guess now, if I did not have the choice of drinking chocolate milk, I would drink no milk if still at school. Then a number of people are bringing the point that, they drink chocolate milk to help them recover from a workout. Jeff, I'd really like to hear from persons who think that this is a good idea. Chocolate milk helps recover from a workout. Look, here's the bottom line. I'm all in favor of healthier lunches, or healthier breakfasts or whatever. But you got to get kids to eat them. That's the bottom line. One of the real ugly secrets about these healthy school lunches is, in many cases, in order to meet the dietary standards, they serve stuff that the kids don't eat. Yes, we're going to give the kids a vegetable. All right. Well, it's in many cases, it's the ultimate in virtue signaling, because you put, I don't know, I like spinach. You put broccoli on the plate. I mean, I'm trying to think of green. You put broccoli on the plate, and you just watch the kids in the school lunch line. So the broccoli goes from the server onto the kid's plate, and then it goes directly into the garbage because the kids aren't going to eat the broccoli. So how have we made them healthier? But we say, we've served them this food. Oh, isn't that great? Well, if they don't eat it, it doesn't make any difference. And this is the same sort of thing. I mean, for goodness sakes, if they're going to, is flavored milk the best thing in the world? Well, okay, you can argue no, there's other healthy alternatives, but I would argue that having them drink chocolate milk or strawberry flavored milk is a heck of a lot better than having them pound down, again, the large energy drink or whatever that's just absolutely full of sugar. Why would you take this option away? Oh, yes, because they're from the government and they're here to help us. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, is this something that is disqualifying? I will explain. We will discuss.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too. Because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Live life to the fullest. Hey, you hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. QC Kinetics gives people all around Milwaukee their quality of life by providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain, and not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible, using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. So where is your joint pain? In your knees, your hips, shoulders, maybe your back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, no steroids or harmful drugs. And patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Well, finally being able to exercise or walk the dog, maybe enjoying time with the family, or just working your job. Whatever it is, don't wait another day. Call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Give them a call, 414-285-3474.
Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors. CertainTeed Diamond Level Select Shingle Masters. The best of the best. And that's why you can feel confident in choosing us to install your new roof.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Previously, it has been gently loved. But here, you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Okay, legitimate issue or another cheap shot by the local newspaper. And you know, we saw this play out when Tim Michels announced he was running for governor. And, of course, Tim Michels, who's part of the Michels Construction Company, you know, based out of, you know, Wisconsin, and clearly a guy who grew up in Wisconsin. He also owns a house. And remember this story? He owned a house in New York or Connecticut, you know, and he, you know, lived there and for a while because he was supervising, you know, construction projects that were out there. And this was, I don't know how significant the issue was ultimately in the election, but this was something that the local newspaper just jumped on. Oh, well, he's, you know, where does he really live? Well, they're at it again because one of the people who is considering running for U.S. Senate in 2024 is a Wisconsin businessman named Eric Hovde. You know, and he's been around Republican politics in Wisconsin for a while. Hovde and his wife own a house in Madison that they bought for $1.75 million in 2011. All right, nice house. Residence has 4 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, nearly 7,000 square feet of space. He pays, according to the local newspaper story, he pays $45,000 in property tax in Wisconsin. All right, so that's the deal. And out of Madison, you know, he runs his business. He's the CEO of Hovde Properties, which is a Madison-based commercial and residential real estate company that was founded by his grandfather. Okay, so that's the deal. He's got that business. He also has another business, and he runs something out of Irvine, California, called H Bank Corp, and its primary subsidy, SunWest Bank. And he's the chairman and CEO of both entities. So this is what the Breathless newspaper column says. Wisconsin businessman Eric Hovde is looking more and more like a strong U.S. candidate for California. That Dan Bice is so clever. Records show the Republican banker paid nearly $7 million in 2018 to buy a luxurious hillside estate in Laguna Beach, California, with an unimpeded view of the shimmering Pacific Ocean. The California residence cost more than 3 times what Hovde paid for his Madison house on Lake Mendota, even though it is nearly half the size. Okay, now, the house he owns in Madison, he paid $1.75 million for. So it's not like he's living in an apartment or something. And he's owned that since, 2011. That's when he's owned that house. So in 2018, he's got a business that operates also in California, Laguna Beach, right on the Pacific Ocean. So he's got a house out there as well. Okay, so this is the issue. So they call him up. Dan Bice calls him up and says, well, you know, what are you doing? You own a house in California. Are you really from Wisconsin? Apparently, when they call him up, he says, I'm sitting in my office in Wisconsin right now, getting ready to walk down to my favorite, restaurant. And he says, yeah, I mean, I operate a bank that operates in the West. Yes, that is true. It's out there. And yes, I spend time out there. And yes, we purchased this house that is out there. And yes, we live there part of the time. But our principal residence is, this home in Madison that, by the way, is worth a whole bunch of money, as well. The, various real estate agencies say the Madison property is somewhere in the neighborhood of worth like $8 million now or something like that. Okay, so you've got, the guy has a really nice house that he's owned in Madison where he is from and apparently continues to operate a business there. He's got another business out there and he's got a really nice house in California. He pays taxes on both of those houses. They say, okay, state income taxes, Wisconsin or California. He says, this is my home. I pay taxes in Wisconsin. Our number, 855-616, and he votes in Wisconsin, 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. I'm reading this story and also kind of the snarky tone of it. And I'm thinking, really? Remember Herb Kohl? I mean, Herb Kohl owned a 1,000-acre ranch in Wyoming when he was the Democrat who represented the Senate. I never once remember Herb Kohl owning this big old ranch in Wyoming as being an issue. He had a condo, downtown, and that's, that was his residence. But he spent a lot of time when he wasn't in Washington at the ranch in Wyoming. And I don't remember anybody saying, oh, this means Herb Kohl's not from Wisconsin. No, I mean, he had this property. Herb Kohl was extremely wealthy. That was his second place. That was his retreat. That was where he went with friends. That was where, he went during the summer. But it wasn't an issue. So my question is, all right, is this an issue now, or is this just another one of these incredibly, incredibly cheap shots? And by the way, I have no position right now on the U.S. Senate race in 2024. And while I've met Eric Hovde a few times, I'm not carrying water for him. I'm just saying, okay, seriously? And I guess I come from this perspective of somebody a couple years ago. People know this. We bought a second condo in Florida that I spent some time there during the winter. Does that mean, even though I live here, it's my permanent residence, I pay state taxes here, I vote here, does that mean that, if you wanted to get involved in politics, you're not from Wisconsin anymore because you have a second place in Florida? Nuts to that. 855-616-1620. All right, is this an issue or is it a cheap shot? I vote for cheap shot. What do you think? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Stay in touch. You can reach us on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
Outdoor living here is great, but it's best when it's at your own home. And there's a company called Outdoor Living Unlimited that will build you a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, all manner of things to enhance outdoor living at your place, even an outdoor kitchen. Contact Outdoor Living Unlimited and get creative about your yard. Your wishes, your ideas. Outdoor Living Unlimited's knowledge and expertise. Roll those dreams into reality. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com. That's OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at SteelUSA.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Hey, boaters!
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you could want, think of, or wish for your boat.
We're committed to making sure you always have a place to fulfill every boating need that you have. And if you ask around, you'll find out our prices always beat the other guys. This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey boaters.
This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. And hey, boaters love shopping here. How do I know? Well, most times it's because they tell me, Dave, I love shopping here. But other times it's because they tell you. If you need a reason to come here, just check out our online reviews. They tell the whole story. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. Yeah, I mean, I all those years that Herb Kohl was representing the U.S. in the Senate from Wisconsin, I never remember issues being raised over, gee, Herb Kohl, he's got an apartment in downtown Milwaukee, and he's got this huge ranch that he spends lots of time with in Montana. Nobody argued that Herb Kohl wasn't legitimately from Wisconsin. No, it was just, okay, he's a really wealthy guy, and he's got this ranch, and this is where he goes in his off time and things like that. So here you have Eric Hovde, who's one of the guys who's thinking about getting into the Senate race, and the Vice column is, well, you know, yes, he has a very, very expensive place in Madison that he's owned on Lake Mendota, that he's owned for 10 years. And yes, he's from here, and he's running his grandfather's business, but he has a business in California, and he has a very, very nice house out in California that he bought about 3 or 4 years ago, and he bounces back and forth between the two, but he pays property taxes here, he pays property taxes there, he pays state income taxes in Wisconsin, he votes here, but because he has this second place, this is now going to somehow be an issue. Just, the local newspaper, just shame on it. Just shame on it for these type of stories. Jeff, when Russ Feingold decided he was running again for Senate, didn't he have a residence in California where he was teaching? Yeah, exactly. And was that an issue? And the answer is no. Look, I don't care if you're going to support Eric Hovde or somebody else. It doesn't matter. But this is such a pathetic, cheap shot because, again, my guess is there are a lot of people, and if he's got a business here and he's got a business in California, and I don't know how much time they spend out there, but it seems to me to be, okay, if you can afford something like that, what is wrong with it? It doesn't mean that you're not from Wisconsin, just like a lot of the people around here, including, my guess is, maybe some of the upper echelon people at the Journal-Sentinel, and at least this used to be the case. I don't know who's left there now, but it certainly used to be the case that there were a number of upper echelon people who, you know what? I'm here to tell you the truth. They had places in Arizona and Florida, and I can name names. They had places in Arizona and Florida, and it didn't mean that they weren't involved in Milwaukee, and it didn't mean that they weren't involved in Wisconsin. It meant that they had places in Arizona and Florida. Oh, my gosh. And I don't remember the Journal-Sentinel writing stories about, hey, so-and-so, and I'm not going to name names because I don't want to embarrass them. Some of them are my friends. I don't remember writing stories saying, hey, how can you be this muckety-muck at this local paper and have a place in Florida? Don't remember Dan Bice writing those stories. Back with more in just a couple minutes. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Are you looking for the perfect restaurant for your next night out? Then make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, your next dinner destination. Specializing in artisanal American cuisine, Aria features carefully prepared seasonal entrees along with a robust selection of craft cocktails, wine, and local beer. Join them on Sundays for the restaurant's famous trademark chicken, served family style with sides like mashed potatoes, goat cheese biscuits, and more. Make your plans today to dine at Aria. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com. That's aria@stkate.com.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
A little birdie told us you're not doing so hot.
Here it is, swinging a line drive to a leaping grab by Willie Adames. He timed it perfectly and pulled it down.
The Brewers are in St. Louis with coverage starting at 6:10. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it is 62 degrees, mostly sunny skies today, a high of 65 at the lake, 72 degrees inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Milwaukee police investigating a deadly overnight crash that killed 5 people, including 3 teens and 1 child. According to MPD, the crash happened near 60th and Fond du Lac around midnight. 4 people were thrown from one car after the vehicles collided. All of those people pronounced dead at the scene. Another passenger from that car has died at Freighter Hospital this morning. That car, a Kia Sedona, said to be traveling 80 miles per hour when it collided with a Dodge Journey after running a red light. The driver of the Dodge was arrested on unknown charges. Milwaukee police investigating a second overnight crash that left 1 person dead, 3 injured. According to MPD, early this morning, a vehicle was driving west down Capitol Drive when it ran into a tree. The driver, a 68-year-old man, died on the way to the hospital. 1 other passenger still in critical condition, 2 others in stable condition. The identity of the man killed still unknown. They are still trying to reach his next of kin. A new phishing tool is being used to steal information and money from We Energies customers. Brendan Conway of We Energies tells TMJ4 News multiple customers have been tricked into handling over money and social security information to these scammers.
These people are buying an ad using those keywords, and that ad shows up at the top of the search results above our website and above our phone number, and the people now are calling that number thinking it's We Energies.
To avoid these scams, Conway suggests only calling the number on their app or on your personal bill. The number of Wisconsinites traveling for Memorial Day weekend will be close to a record.
AAA says more than 800,000 Wisconsinites will travel 50 miles or more during the holiday weekend. That's more than 6.5% from last year and only 3% short of the all-time high in 2019. Now, Friday, May 26th, that's expected to be the busiest day on the roads. The best times to travel, says AAA, in the mornings or after 6 p.m. Despite inflationary pressure, AAA says consumer spending is strong. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
A Sheboygan author begins his touring of his latest children's book today. His first stop, reading where he attended school at James Madison Elementary.
After writing 7 Christmas books, Todd Zimmerman decided to switch up the theme, but use the same characters.
The ornaments from the Christmas series came to life and taught the children all about the 4th of July, all about America.
Oliver Doodle Dandy explores themes of patriotism, kindness, and taking a break from technology.
Tells them about our freedoms and our opportunities and our great leaders. By the end of the story, the children could have no interest in their devices.
Jessica Gatzo, WTMJ News.
A house fire in Union Grove. Nobody hurt after an explosion at a home on Crabtree Lane this morning. The Racine County Sheriff's Office says it's believed the blast occurred in the attached garage. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 2:03.
I know. When you think about inflation, your stomach feels like it had day-old sushi from the corner convenience store. So let Team Austin put a soothing coating of confidence in there. Eric Smith here from Austin Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The best way to avoid buying a new furnace, AC, or water heater? Take care of what you got now. My plumbing technicians don't just fix problems you already have. They know problem spots to look for. Raggedy hoses, stubborn spigots, crusty, rusty water heaters, those kinds of things. And then they'll advise you on what to do next. Same deal with Team Austin's Heating and Air Gurus. They'll make sure you have all the information you need to make the best decision, one that will satisfy you and your budget. Because why replace something sooner than you have to? Austin Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Home of comprehensive care for your plumbing, heating, and air. Online at teamaustin.com.
With inflation affecting so many families, the super affordable Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford is better than ever. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The breakfasts are big and they're $8.99 or less. Mondays are family pizza day. Enjoy a huge 18-incher for just $14.99. Easily serves a family of 4. Pizzas like this at other restaurants are $20 or more. Not at the Mine Shafts. By the way, I love their pepperoni. Tuesdays, tacos are $2.99. Your kids and grandkids can safely play in that $2 million game room, quietly tucked away from the dining area while you finish up your meal, maybe have an after-dinner drink. Sounds pretty perfect. The Mine Shaft desserts are all buy one, get one free. I love the pies and the cakes. It's absolutely to die for. It's the amazing Mine Shaft restaurant right on Main Street in beautiful downtown Hartford and right off the interstate in Oshkosh. Enjoy that huge Monday pizza for just $14.99. Tuesday tacos, $2.99. Happy hour from 2 to 5 with half-price beers and cocktails. No reservations needed. Walk in, mineshaftRestaurant.com.
After a sweep of the Royals and 4-2 homestand, the Brewers hit the road for 6 straight, beginning tonight in St. Louis against the Cardinals. Coverage gets underway at 6:10 on WTMJ. Christian Yelich hitting .348 with 4 home runs in the month of May. Conference finals are set in the NBA. It'll be the Celtics and Heat in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference finals features the Lakers and top-seeded Nuggets. That series begins on Tuesday. And according to Shams Charania of The Athletic, Mark Jackson, former coach of the Golden State Warriors, will interview for the Bucks head coaching vacancy. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, it is your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic, and it looks like we still got that report of a crash on 4394. It's from the on-ramp from Beecher, and it looks like everything is cleared. It's still reported, though, and definitely something to keep an eye on over there. Pretty much everything else is looking good. No major slowdowns or delays, and no other accidents have been reported.
Traffic is sponsored by SB Framing Gallery, Milwaukee's distinctive archival framing.
SB Framing Gallery in the 3rd Ward can enhance and protect your artwork for generations. Framing pieces with archival and distinctive design. Learn more at sbframinggallery.com.
It is time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Mostly sunny skies today, a high of 65 at the lake, 72 degrees inland. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 50. Tomorrow's going to be mostly sunny, a chance of some afternoon thunder showers and a high of 74. But we're going to see temperatures quickly falling in the afternoon. It's a backdoor cold front, and it's going to cool temperatures into the 50s tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a high of 56. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 67. And on Friday, we'll have showers with a chance of storms and a high of 65. Right now in Madison, it's 67. In Green Bay, it is 72. In Waukesha, it's 68. And here in Milwaukee, it is 62 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 2:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Of course it's going to rain on Friday. Of course it's going to rain on Friday. That's just kind of the pattern of springtime in Wisconsin. Hey, you can listen to us live through WTMJ.com. You can check out our podcasts so you can hear all the programs. If you've missed anything, you can sign up for the podcasts through, again, WTMJ.com or Spotify or Apple, wherever you get the podcasts. And I know a lot of you do that. And you can now, of course, watch live as well. We've got our own YouTube channel. Go to WTMJ.com and you can click on and you can see what we look like as we do the show. And it's kind of, it's kind of catching on. It's sort of interesting how that works. Okay, we've got some serious stuff coming up in this hour, and we have some lighter stuff. As I was mentioning earlier, this is locally, it's Armed Forces Week, and it's really a recognition and a celebration of a number of the service people that we have around here. Tonight there is a sold-out, full-house banquet at the Wisconsin Club, and I've been really, really privileged, and I say that sincerely, to MC it for the last 10, 11, 12 years or whatever, and I'll be doing that again tonight. So looking forward to seeing there will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at the Grand Ballroom in the Wisconsin Club, and looking forward to that very much. It's an inspiring sort of event. Okay. Let us start off with an issue that for some of you, you're going to say, there's no significance to this at all. But for others, you will have a very, very strong feeling. When we are in Florida, it is I would say it is extremely, in part because of the weather, it is extremely pet friendly. And because of the weather, people eat outdoors a lot. Now, I'm not there in the summer when it's like blistering hot, and so my guess is eating out on the patios and stuff isn't as appealing. But when you're there in December or January or February or March, it's almost always the most desirable to sit at some of the outdoor seating. And there's lots and lots of restaurants and bars and things like that have outdoor seating, and it's great. It's in demand because, you know, when it's 75 degrees outside and it's nice, who wants to be, you know, inside? So that is an appeal. One of the other things that you find, at least I find, at least where we are in Florida, is it is extremely pet friendly. I don't want to say everybody has a dog, but lots and lots of people have dogs. And you see the people and I have a dog, so as I'm walking Sasha, you run into all these other people who are walking their dogs. A number of people take their dogs to restaurants. And in Florida, it is not uncommon to walk into an outdoor dining place and see at least a couple dogs that are, you know, on the patios or the decks or wherever. And in general, the dogs are, I think, extremely well behaved, and they're just sitting down, you know, under the table, and people are eating, and you don't think anything of it. Now, we don't do that with our dog, although I've been thinking about it. But our dog she's kind of a little bit hyper around other dogs. She thinks she's a person, and so she tends to bark at other dogs. And so she'd be fine, but it's like, okay, when I go out, I want to relax and don't want to worry that she's going to start barking and stuff. So this is something that probably doesn't affect us because we might try it, but we haven't tried it as of yet because, again, I'm not sure she would sit quietly, you know, under the table. Could be wrong, might do it as an experiment. But what's interesting is the U.S. government has just come out and said that, at least as far as they are concerned, that as long as the local communities and the state, and that is the state or the localities, as long as they are acceptable or cool with people bringing pets to outdoor dining spaces, the government says that's fine, and they're not going to block it. Their updated food code last year, this is the FDA, said restaurants can have dogs in outdoor areas as long as they get approval from the local regulator. In other words, if there's not a municipal ordinance or there's not a state ordinance that is out there. And a number of states, about nearly half of the states, already allow canine dining outdoors. Now, in Wisconsin, it is in fact legal to have a dog on an outdoor patio, as long as the restaurant is okay with it. We're not talking about service dogs. If the restaurant allows it, and there's a couple different restrictions, you know, the dog can't be, you know, on your lap. Dog has to be on the ground. The dog can't walk through the restaurant to get to the outdoor eating area. So there has to be like a separate, you know, way that you could get onto the patio or whatever. So you can't walk through the restaurant. But as a general rule, you can have dogs at outdoor dining areas unless the restaurant chooses not to do it. Now, this has created a lot of controversy because there's a number of people who just don't like the idea that they might have to share their patio spaces with dogs. The story I'm looking at, here's somebody, a food blogger from New York, saying, I'd like to be able to enjoy my meal without having to worry about fleas, pet hair, barking, and entitled dogs and their owners. 23 states now have laws or regulations that allow dogs in outdoor dining spaces as long as certain conditions are met. Our number, 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Okay, we are getting to the point where, okay, it's going to be more and more outdoor dining. We're finally getting to that point where outdoor patios are going to be open. The weather is starting to get warmer. Pet ownership in the U.S. is rising. Nearly 87 million U.S. households now have a pet. That's up from 85 million in 2019. And according to a lot of reports, more people are looking for dining options that will accommodate their dogs. Younger pet owners, millennials, Generation Z, have incredibly strong bonds with their pets, and they are willing to act upon it. Well, I mean, I'm a boomer, and I've got a really strong bond with my pet. I'm not sure how she would do, so we haven't tried this out yet. But let's open up the phone lines. Our number, 855-616-1620. How do you feel about outdoor dining areas allowing pets? In this case, it's going to be the dog. There's going to be the different restrictions on that. And again, there's all sorts of, there's rules that they have to follow to allow dogs. I think the most prevalent one, like I say, is that you can't walk the dog through or carry the dog through the indoor area to get to the outdoor area. Then there's rules with regard to, the type of cutlery you have to use or things like that. But all right, would you be more inclined to go to an outdoor dining place that allowed pets or not? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Wake up with me. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 8:30 for Matzik's Morning Minute. Everything you need to know about all your favorite Wisconsin teams in just 60 seconds.
Willie to left and deep. Hey, get up, and way out of here and gone for Willie Adames.
Mondays and Fridays at 8:30 on Wisconsin's Morning News.
Breaking news out of Green Bay where the Packers and Jordan Love have agreed on a one-year contract extension.
Sponsored by Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac.
Business owners, are you feeling the pressures of growing your business? It's tough to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Well, Insperity can help. They put over 35 years of HR experience to work, helping you with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving your employees competitive benefit options. When your people thrive, your business can adapt and prosper. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Scalable HR, employee benefits, HR technology, Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too, because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
Trust the auto experts at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. You know us for tires and batteries, trust and care, offering unbeatable deals on name brand automotive supplies and service. Right now, buy any Trico or Michelin wiper blade, get the second half price. Save 10% on Craftsman truck boxes or Betterbilt job site boxes. And get a free $20 digital gift card when you buy 2 5-quart jugs of Pennzoil full synthetic motor oil. Tires and batteries, trust and care. A Blaine's Farm and Fleet promise since 1955.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. The federal government has just removed any federal obstacles to having dogs in outdoor restaurants. Now, about 22 states allow, 22 states I think allow them, the rest don't. And Wisconsin does. There's different rules that you have to follow, but you know, if the restaurant is okay with it, there's no state restriction saying that you cannot bring your dog to an outdoor patio. My question is, from a consumer standpoint, you know, how do you feel about this? If you walk into your favorite outdoor dining place and you see that there's a dog under another table, is that going to cause you to leave? Or are you going to be bothered by this? Would you be inclined to take your dog out? I will tell you, like when we were in Florida, this is a very, very common thing. It is not unusual to walk into a restaurant, into an outdoor patio, and see that there's 2 or 3 dogs curled up underneath various tables. And I have to tell you, I'm trying to think of situations. I can certainly count on one hand and maybe a couple fingers on that one hand, the instances where the dog has barked or growled or anything. In general, the people that do this, my experience has been the pets are pretty well behaved. 855-616-1620. One of our texters, Jeff, I'm betting you don't need to take your pet everywhere to function in life or use that as an excuse just to have your pet with you when you go to the store. No, I don't. We leave her home. If people can't leave their house or function anywhere in life or shop or store or restaurant, then they have major issues and shouldn't even leave their house. Well, I think they just like to hang out with their dogs and like to take their dogs with them. Is there a reason not to do it? 855-616-1620. Tom in New Berlin. Tom, you're first. Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm against having the dogs in a restaurant. I did have a dog for 10 years, and I did treat the dog very well. But one thing that we were just talking about, the family member that has a dog right now, is that dogs will intentionally and accidentally, but also intentionally, roll their bodies in bad smells, which could be dog poop. It could be like dead animals because they like dead smells. So that's one of my reasons. But I was at Cafe Hollander last summer in Wauwatosa, and there was a dog by me by the table. And, yeah, I just rather not have it.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is a matter of individual taste. I mean, obviously, dogs sniff things and stuff like that. I guess I'm trying to think of a situation, and I'm drawing a blank, where I've been, around people's pets. And again, this I'm not arguing for us because we don't take our dog to restaurants and things like that just for a variety of reasons. But I'm trying to think of a situation where I've been at a restaurant where there's been a dog that like smelled or something like that. I'm in the real world. I'm not seeing that play out. But this is. Like, for example, in Wisconsin, it's a matter that's up to the local restaurateur. I mean, there's nothing that says if you've got patio dining that you have to open it up to dogs. I'm just saying that under the law, as long as you are able to follow a whole bunch of other rules and restrictions, you can do it. Would you be less inclined to patronize a place that allowed the dogs on the patios or the decks? Mike in Illinois. Mike, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Good. What do you think?
So I love dogs, had them my whole life. Used to take my dog when I had my first dog when I was living on my own. Took it everywhere, but never into a restaurant. That really wasn't allowed back then. This is like early 90s. And you're right. I do see it now more frequently when it's I usually just see one patron with a dog. And, this is on a patio and stuff like that.
Right.
But I can just see it getting out of hand very quickly. So I guess I'm looking towards the future a little bit. Like when I see a dog right now, it doesn't bother me. But if, a place allowed dogs, I could see a lot more dogs being there once it gets out. Hey, this place, allows them
right.
And maybe even encourages it. I would prefer not to have them there.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting, Mike, because that is, Mike, precisely what is happening. And that matter of fact, the story I was looking at, particularly with people that are younger than we are, who are very, very attached to their pets. And if you look, this is one of the new explosions that's out there. And if you look at search terms and stuff, people are Googling dog-friendly restaurants. They are, particularly younger people, are kind of seeking this type of thing out because they take their dogs everywhere. And like I say, I don't see that as much here as I do when we're in Florida. But when we're in Florida, I see it all over, and people, they're going to the grocery stores and you've got the dogs, and they're going out to eat and you've got the dogs. So, I think it's certainly becoming more and more of a trend. 855-616-1620. Tony in Richfield. Tony, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Tony.
I really only have one question. Just why? Why would anybody want to bring their dog to a restaurant? It's almost like cruelty to the animal.
Well, I think
this is just more of the humanizing of animals, pet parents and all that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, Tony, thanks. You just answer your own question. It is kind of the humanizing. You have lots of people who view their pets as part of their family. I view my pet as part of the family. Now, again, when we're going out to dinner, Fran and I are going out to dinner, and the dog stays home. That's kind of the way it works. Because for a variety of reasons I was talking about. But I think that there's a lot of people out there. It is the humanization. The pets are part of the family. If we're going out to dinner, let's take the dog with us. Now, I will, at the risk of being somewhat controversial, argue that a lot of times you can make an argument that the pet is perhaps going to be better behaved than some people are with kids Ooh, did he just say that? Yeah, I mean, how many times you've been in a restaurant and, you've seen the kids just kind of running wild through the restaurant. Most of the times when I see the dog is like under the table and like sleeping or whatever. So, but the whole kid thing is a whole kind of another other discussion. Jeff, I have 2 toddlers and a chocolate lab, and the dog is the worst behaved of all of them. I certainly wouldn't want to take her to a restaurant, but if the owner is okay with it, I guess I am too. Well, yeah, if you've got a dog that's you're going to bark or not be behaved, that's fine. Jeff, to your point, I'd rather sit outside at a restaurant with dogs than people who bring their kids. Well, I think it's all kind of relative. Jeff, when I was lucky enough to spend a summer in Great Britain a few years back, there were dogs everywhere. Dogs in pubs, dogs in cafes, dogs in the library. They were everywhere, and it wasn't an issue. I was talking to one of my teammates today who's going on a trip going to Paris in 2 weeks, and I said, boy, that was one of the things that struck me last time we were in Paris. Everybody has dogs, and everybody's bringing the dogs all over. And of course, in Paris, cafes are a way of life, and outdoor cafes are just all over. And maybe it was just the places I went to, but I don't think so. I mean, last time we were in Paris, I was just struck. You couldn't walk into an outdoor cafe without there being not just one dog, but multiple dogs. That's all part of it. Jeff, I have a dog. He is part of the family. That said, we do not bring him out to eat or drink with us. I prefer to dine without animals near me. Jeff, it makes no difference to me at all. I'm totally fine with seeing dogs on patios. I have a dog, though, not interested in taking my dog because I don't think she'd enjoy it, but I have no issues with it. Yeah, I guess I kind of think that's sort of how I feel too. I'm not sure at all that my dog would enjoy it, and I don't want to worry about her not enjoying it. I don't want to worry about her disturbing other people, and I don't think she would necessarily. But if somebody else brought another dog in, I could see her. Like I say, she barks at other dogs. I keep saying, Sasha, you don't need to bark every time you see a dog, but that's it. It's the dog thing, and we're working on it. But we're not there yet. Let's talk to Chris in West Dallas. Chris, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hi, Jeff. This is Chris.
Yeah.
I just drove back from Tucson, Arizona, and I didn't want to leave the dogs in the hotel room. And one's a retired service dog. He has public access, and the other one's my daughter's dog. My daughter is deployed with the military, so I had to have the dog with me, or both of them with me, and we did do a lot of outdoor patio dining, and both were very, very well behaved. The waiters and waitresses brought bowls of water for the dogs, and it worked out very, very well.
Well, Chris, thanks. I mean, it is interesting because I think, and again, this is going to be more of a trend in the future. And restaurateurs are going to have to decide, are the people that you turn off by allowing, pets, allowing dogs onto, the patios and the outdoor dining areas, is it going to be a net gain or not? If somebody says, hey, I'm going to go to a dog-friendly place, and that's the be-all, end-all as to whether I'm going to go, they're just going to have to, make that calculation. One more call. Chris in Greenfield. Chris, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, I know there's the debate on whether you should bring dogs or animals to restaurants. One of the problems that I have is I'm highly allergic to dogs. And we've already gone to restaurants that I've sat out on the patio or sat inside, and if they have a dog, even within, 10 tables of me, my eyes start burning, and it starts becoming very hard for me to breathe, and I've also had to leave restaurants because of that. And that's been after I've sat there, and then they come in with their animals, even if it's outside.
I'm curious.
So it's very inconsiderate on their part, I feel, that they're doing that.
I'm curious, Chris, and I asked this out of curiosity. You said you're allergic to animals. Are you allergic to other things like perfumes and stuff like that? Or not really?
No,
Okay.
I'm allergic to the proteins, like when the dog breathes. I'm not even allergic to their fur.
Okay.
Unless they've been licking their fur.
Okay.
But I'm also allergic to feathers.
Got it. Understood. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. The reason I was asking is because a lot of people that have allergies, it's not just the dog allergy. They've got allergies to other stuff as well. And I'm kind of curious as to how do you deal with that when you have, for example, when you're sensitive to perfumes or something and you walk onto the patio and you're seated next to somebody who's like bathed in perfume and things like that. In any event, this is going to be more of an issue. And I want to kind of put you ahead of this because more and more restaurants are doing this because at least, especially with younger diners, more and more people want to take their pets, not just take them to work, but they want to take them, to restaurants. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more in just a minute.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Shop and save with top pet brands at Fleet Farm. Don't miss out. Get a $10 Fleet Farm gift card when you buy a 28-pound bag of Taste of the Wild dog food. And get 40 pounds of Litter Delight cat litter for just $11.99. Plus, with our price match guarantee, you'll always get the lowest price. Keep your pets happy and healthy with Fleet Farm, your pet headquarters.
Live life to the fullest. Hey, you hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. QC Kinetics gives people all around Milwaukee their quality of life by providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain, and not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible, using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. So where is your joint pain? In your knees, your hips, shoulders, maybe your back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, no steroids or harmful drugs. And patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Well, finally being able to exercise or walk the dog, maybe enjoying time with the family, or just working your job. Whatever it is, don't wait another day. Call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Give them a call. 414-285-3474.
It's a bird bash at Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to $50,000 cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your club card this May for a chance to win. Wouldn't you like to kick off spring with some tweet cash? Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info at paysbig.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
Hunger Task Force is Milwaukee's free and local food bank, working to feed people today and end future hunger. Hunger Task Force believes every person has the right to healthy food obtained with dignity. We deliver justice for people in need and focus on equitable access to foods that respect the diet, religion, and personal preferences of families who need help. We serve children, families, and seniors with compassion and demonstrate excellent stewardship of community resources to build a stronger Milwaukee. Visit hungertaskforce.org to donate, volunteer, or raise your voice to end hunger in our community.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Okay, Wyatt Barmore Pooley. Fraudulent email. I'm looking, this is to our work email. We've updated your email address. Hello, Spotify here. We wanted to let you know that the email address on your Spotify account has changed recently. Your previous email address was, and then my work email address. Now it's something else. All right, if you meant to do that, no worries. It's business as usual. If it wasn't you, click here, and we'll look into what happened. I don't think I should click on that.
Jeff, do you have a Spotify account?
I don't think so. Through work, why would I have a Spotify account through? I don't even think I have a Spotify account. No.
Yeah, that's how I can always. Those are the funniest to me is spam emails for accounts I do not have.
Right. So I think it's kind of safe to again do this for us. See, you're my guy. We did this last week. You're my guy where it's kind of like it's delete and like report is like something weird, huh?
Yeah, it's phishing with a PH.
Fish
like
alert.
Band.
Okay, there we go. All right, I sent that out there. Okay, fish alert. Got it. All right. Thank you. I depend on this. You and Charlie, and of course, this is like the company email, which is not that I want to screw up my personal email, but this is the company email that I really don't want to screw up because then I'm in meetings and explaining why I hooked on these things. All right. I'll be in a meeting for this, too. I'm late. WTMJ Breaking News Time, 2:34 p.m. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Wyatt Barmore-Pooley.
Thanks, Jeff. Milwaukee police investigating 2 fatal crashes overnight. One killed 5 people at 65th and Fond du Lac. The other was on Capitol Drive. A driver ran into a tree. That driver did pass away. One occupant from that car currently in critical condition. The 2 others are in stable condition. Democrat Congressman Jerry Connolly says a man with a baseball bat walked into his Virginia office, asked for him, and then assaulted 2 members of his staff. Fairfax police say that suspect is in custody. The victims are being treated for injuries that are not life-threatening. And the number of Wisconsinites traveling for Memorial Day weekend will be close to a record. AAA says more than 800,000 Wisconsinites will travel 50 miles or more during the holiday weekend. That's only 3% short of the all-time high the year before the pandemic in 2019. Time for news about your money. It is the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, and everything's in the green now. The Dow is up 43 points. The S&P is up 11.5, and the NASDAQ continuing to climb as well. 76 points up now, a little over 0.6%. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com. You can click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads, it is time for your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic, and looks like everything now has been cleared. Nothing really to report. Everything is looking good. No major slowdowns or delays, and no accidents up on the board.
Traffic is sponsored by Evans Transportation Services. Thank heavens for Evans. Rely on one company for accounting, shipping, and tracking. Evans Transportation Services. Family owned for 40 years and continuing to grow. Evans Transportation Services in Brookfield.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Mostly sunny today, a high of 65. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 50. Tomorrow's going to be mostly sunny, a chance of afternoon thunder showers, a high of 74. But a cold front is going to drop that into the 50s in the afternoon. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a high of 56. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 67. And on Friday, showers with a chance of storms, a high of 65. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 62 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:36.
Okay, high five. I hit the fish alert thing. Turned out to be, congratulations. It was like a simulated thing from the company testing me out.
Yeah, you passed with flying colors.
I passed with flying colors. All right, I wasn't going to click on it anyways, but you asked the operative question. Do you even have a Spotify account, Jeff? That should be the starting point for all this stuff. Yep. All right, but we passed regardless. When we come back, a follow-up to something we talked about before. Do you wonder what the real reason is that car companies are taking AM radio out of cars? Well, a former boss of mine, I think, is on to something. I'll explain. We'll discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
If you're a veteran, on active duty, reserve, or a military spouse, this is your wake-up call. It's time for basic training to be an entrepreneur. If you've ever wanted to own your own business, the Veterans Business Outreach Center is here for you. Get started today by texting the word VETERAN to 855-616-1620. The Veterans Business Outreach Center helps veterans of all eras. Just text VETERAN to 855-616-1620. The VBOC is an official program of the Small Business Administration and hosted by the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation.
Welcome back, Marianne. What does Heiser have in store for customers this spring?
Well, Steve, I can't predict this crazy spring weather, but what's never unpredictable is how we treat our customers. Heiser gives everyone upfront pricing, no hidden market adjustment fees, and inventory under MSRP.
That's great. We love that Heiser always puts the customer first and makes sure they're taken care of.
And that will never change. Our team will make the process fun and easy, giving our customers the option to either purchase one from our lot or special order one. It's so stress-free that our customers have been known to kick back and have some fun purchasing their new ride.
Well, that's something that'll set you apart from the rest. Along with Heiser's exclusive Safe and Sound program, besides the Roadside Assistance for Life, what else is included?
One of my favorites, our vehicle exchange program. Purchase new or used, and if you don't love it, exchange it. Check out our specials online, because at Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
If mom or dad aren't comfortable with assisted living, now's the time to have their home equipped to accommodate their needs. There's a huge customer appreciation sale going on at Miller Mobility June 9th and 10th. Save on stair lifts, ramps, scooters, lift chairs, bathroom safety, and more. Miller Mobility can equip any home to accommodate everything a senior needs without moving into an assisted living facility. Mention this ad and save an additional 10%. See their huge showroom in Oconomowoc or visit millermobility.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So many scams out there. There's no question about it. You got to be careful. All right. We've talked about this once or twice over the last several months. There is an effort that car companies are engaging in to remove AM radios from cars. It's been announced that for electric vehicles, the newly manufactured electric vehicles that the Biden administration is trying to encourage us all to drive, AM radios are coming out of them when you buy the new cars. And the argument is, well, there's a problem with the electric motors, and it causes interference, and we don't want to put these AM radios in these cars, and then they get interference and people complain. Now, the truth of the matter is that, for about a 5-cent plastic part, you could deal with that entire situation. But and it's not just the electric vehicles. For example, Ford has announced that I think starting next year, even in gasoline-powered automobiles, forget the electric vehicles, they're not going to put AM radios in cars anymore. And this is creating a huge consternation in the industry. I mean, let's be upfront about this. I work for an AM radio station, and we're a very, very popular radio station, and I understand that a lot of our listening is done by people who are driving around in their cars. That's just the reality of it. You can find us other ways other than just hitting the AM button on your car radio. You can, again, if you listen to, we first of all, we have an FM signal. It's not as strong as the AM signal, but we simulcast on an FM station. But in addition, you can, again, stream us. And so you can use Bluetooth, et cetera, et cetera. When we're down in Florida, I listen to WTMJ. You can pick, you can do it. So it's not like if you don't have the AM radio, you're not going to be able to listen to, for example, WTMJ. But at the same time, let's be honest, it's more difficult, and you never want people to have to jump through too many hoops in order to take you in. It's sort of like restaurants. And, even though you love a particular restaurant, if there's road construction in front of the place and the road's torn up for a year and people have to drive 5 miles out of their way or 3 miles out of their way to get to the restaurant, at some point in time they say, okay, is it more trouble than it's worth? So the AM industry, the AM radio industry, is trying to mobilize Congress, and I know some radio groups have had these, here, call your congressman and let's try to get the government to get involved. As I've said, I'm not sure that I think it's a government thing, but I do think it's a consumer preference. And I think that's, where people, when they go to buy a car, say, what do you mean it doesn't have an AM radio in it? But it's interesting because there's something more than just like interference. And if you follow me on Twitter, and again, it's at Jeff Wagner 620, there was a really interesting piece that was written by one of my former bosses, a guy named Tom Langmeyer, who was at WTMJ for a number of years, and now he runs a media company called Great Lakes Broadcasting. And there's a big story in the Washington Post about how they're pulling AM radios out of cars, and again the argument is, well, it's a redundancy. You don't need the AM radio in the car. You can get it through other ways, et cetera, et cetera. But it's really interesting because Tom points out something else that's really, going on here. And at least it's his theory as to what the big motivation is for why car companies are pulling AM radio out of cars. And his premise is next it's going to be FM. And you know why? You know why it is. Now think for a second why this would be. Why would they pull AM radios and then maybe FM radios out of cars? Why would that be? Well, Oh, Scott Walker just walks in. I'm going to see you tonight we're at the Armed Forces Day event, former Governor Scott Walker. Anyway, so the argument would be, why would they pull AM radios out of cars? And if it's not really this interference thing, what's going on? Well, okay, 2 words: satellite radio. All right, here's what Langmeyer writes. All right, and he's writing. It's an open letter to the guy from the Washington Post saying, here's some context to consider. If you write a follow-up about AM radio's removal from autos. Not only AM, but FM eventually will be removed from all car radios. And here is the primary reason. Automakers have business partnerships with SiriusXM and Apple CarPlay for subscription revenue. These 2 entities and others work together with the auto manufacturers in a shared subscription-based revenue stream model. The entertainment suite in a car is a huge revenue source for the auto companies. This is critical contextual information that I'm sure you want to include. Radio does not pay automakers to put radios in cars. Radio is actually a competitor to the auto industry. While they say you can root around and try to find the streaming version of radio, they are very careful to make sure that on the connected car dashboard, radio takes a back seat to any menu. This essentially eliminates the competition from disrupting their subscription-based revenue models in terms of the excuse that AM can't be picked up in cars that are electric, and then he goes on and says that this is nothing. But the argument is, if you're wondering why this is happening, it's because, okay, you buy a new car, right? I mean, I just picked up a new car a week ago. You get, and I am, by the way, a fan of satellite radio. I have a subscription to SiriusXM. So I'm a fan of terrestrial radio. I like satellite radio as well. So I do that. But you get the free subscription to satellite radio. And the idea is you get it for, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is. But the idea is you get used to it. And so then when it comes due to expire, you sign up with the subscription. And, of course, the car makers are in bed with, again, whether it's Apple CarPlay or whether it's, SiriusXM, there is a shared revenue sort of deal. You subscribe to it, they end up making money. You listen to the free over-the-air AM or FM, well, okay, that doesn't benefit the car makers. They want you using the satellite radio that they have put in the cars. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Accunet Mortgage talk and text line. If AM radio goes away, will you miss it? We discuss in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
You can search for the biggest bat selection, but I'm here to save you time because the best baseball and softball bat selection in the Midwest is right here at Burkhardt Sporting Goods. We stock just about every bat on the market from all the top manufacturers like Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Marucci, and more, and sell them all at the guaranteed lowest prices. So get in here and try a few out in our indoor batting cages. There's no need to look any further because when it comes to bats, if you want it, we got it at Burkhardt Sporting Goods.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spiritware is vital. That's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spiritwear from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spiritwear and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhardt.
You can't beat Burkhardt. What's the way to build your wealth?
While going over a new client's statements from one of the big financial firms, I was floored when I read that firm does not offer tax or estate planning advice. Because we know that saving money for our clients on their taxes, legally and well within the law, can make a huge difference in their financial plan. If you want to wisely build your wealth, it is my firm opinion that without a comprehensive approach, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. At Financial Strategies, Inc., we're taking a deep dive and creating comprehensive strategies that develop your retirement, investment, and your tax and estate planning. And all under a fee-only structure that means the success we care about most is yours. I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial Strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Your family, your memories, our priority. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. Put it simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle, so I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. I really do think one of my old bosses, Tom Langmeyer, I've got a link to this if you follow me on Twitter. It's at Jeff Wagner 620. I think he nails one of the reasons. But if you think about it, pulling AM radio out of cars makes absolutely no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. Now, I understand that, you know, the new cars, for example, used to come with CD players. They used to come with cassette players. And now because of streaming services and stuff, you know, the CD players have become like a dinosaur. You know, I understand some of you still have them, but most people don't. But AM radio is different. And as long as you're going to still have the FM radio in there, it's to add the AM with it makes no sense. Well, I mean, Langmeyer's point, and I think he's probably onto something, is, look, this is, at the end of the day, the car manufacturers make nothing by having a radio in the car. Matter of fact, that is a competitor to what they really want to steer you to, which is the streaming services, whether it's Apple CarPlay or Sirius XM, you know? And I'm not against Sirius. Like I say, I have a subscription to it. But, you know, when I was waiting for my new car, I had a rental car, and I didn't have Sirius in it. So, I mean, I was listening to, you know, the terrestrial radio stations and all, and I can understand how people would say, okay, well, you know, I've got these FM radio stations, I've got the AM radio stations. I don't need to pay the money for satellite service. But if you can't get the FM stations and you can't get the AM stations, and right now I understand they're coming after the AM, but Langmeyer's point, and I think he's onto something, is FM's going to be next. Why do you put the radios in there? And it's the same argument they're using for AM. Well, if you want to get the AM stations, you can figure out a way to stream it. Same thing is true with the FM stations. You know, you can do it through Apple CarPlay or whatever. You don't need that radio function. And why would you do that? Well, because again, they're partnered with satellite radio and things of the like. Let's talk to Scott in New Berlin. Scott, you're on WTMJ.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a fascinating discussion, especially on the political side of things. I'm curious, conservatives will either side with the corporations and capitalism at all costs and let the AM radios disappear, or will conservatives go with the side of big government forcing auto manufacturers to keep AM radios in so we can get National Weather Service, Amber Alerts,
right, the emergency stuff,
national information. So are they going to go big government, or are they going to just keep cashing checks from their corporate donors? They're going to have to make a decision.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Scott. I mean, the position I have taken is I'm – and, you know, the emergency broadcast stuff, that complicates it a little. As a general rule, I think it's a free market sort of thing, and I think that's where the pressure has to come when consumers say, what do you mean there's not an AM radio in the car? And Ford, by the way, in the next model years, like I said, Ford is getting rid of AM radio. So if enough people say, okay, well, what do you mean you don't have an AM radio? All right, I'm going to go across the street and I'm going to buy a Chevy. If enough people respond in that way, you get the free market solution. Anyhow, it's an interesting conversation, and I think it gives some insight as to what's going on here. that, why would you pull AM radios out of cars, especially, cars that even the non-electric cars? Well, I think, it comes down to as it so often does, follow the money. When we come back, John McCure is back from a week-long vacation. Let's see what he has on his mind on Wisconsin's afternoon news.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.